Futures back to the upside once again here this morning as we continue to watch for a deal or no deal potentially to end this government shutdown, the longest in history. That's how things are shaping up so far this morning for the Nasdaq. Nice little extension from that rally into the close on Friday. If you missed it late yesterday, we're close. We're close on a funding deal that could end this, again, the longest government shutdown in history. Lots to talk about this morning on the individual front as well. Tesla back higher with the overall market after a weak couple of days going into the weekend. The leader of the Cybertruck division walking away from Tesla. Is that a positive or a negative? We'll find out. Meanwhile, Rivian, RJ Randy over at Rivian wants to get paid in the same sense as Elon, coming up with his own Elon-esque type compensation deal that it's a lot. I mean, for Rivian, it was 4.8 billion or something that it would total in the end when all is said and done. Welcome to Blue Shirt Monday.
I know, Brendo. We didn't plan this, and we got the red poppy on the navy blue. Hey, man, it's all good, looking good. Let's talk about this Monday morning. Good morning, guys. There's a whole lot to talk about. Nvidia up nicely here to start the morning, 3 1/3%. After Jensen Huang says, look, man, demand for Blackwell is still explosive. Don't get it twisted. Tesla, as Brendo mentioned, with their Cybertruck lead leaving, but they also had data come out of China with respect to sales still bleeding there. Matsera, Brendo, and Pfizer. Finally, Pfizer is going to win that one out. NVO pulling their hat of the ring out of anti-competitive concerns, and some of the materials names popping off this morning as well after a very, very weak last weekend. We got to mention some of the earnings names, Brendo. Monday.com here, down almost 20%. Start the morning.
Yeah, we're obviously getting to the end of earnings season, but that's a big mover so far this morning. Also a big mover so far this morning, the meme stock, I guess, of gold back to all-time highs. That's a 15-minute chart, but it's just absolutely wild if you zoom out on this thing to even a weekly chart. Here we go, back to the upside again. I'll continue to zoom out here if you haven't done this. Again, this is a weekly chart going back to the beginning of 2024, just straight higher for gold, guys. Looking good to start off the week. Everything related to the U.S. essentially downside this morning. U.S. dollar Treasury's got a little bit higher to start things off. I just saw as we were coming on the 10-year and the 30-year pulling back a little bit though, but 10-year back to 4.5 here. So a little bit of negative pressure on the macro side of things, helping to send gold higher.
Yeah, welcome everybody. It is a update Monday. Pretty much everything is getting the bump. AI trade gets the bump. Obviously, you just mentioned the metals. Bitcoin is back at 106.5K, so that's looking incredibly strong. The bills look terrible, but yeah, the bills are like the healthcare stocks today. The president well, he doesn't tweet about it. He truths about some valuations since the ACA, and of course, all the healthcare stocks are down. But I kind of think those could be a nice little bounce spot. So I actually have an idea for some of that for a bounce play to the long side. But yeah, it's seeming like it's going to be a rebound day. I was just pulling up the quote board, and literally everything on my quote board is green, with the exception of probably VIX and TLT, which I have on there for reasons. I don't even know why I have it on there. But look, realistically, we had that pullback. I mean, a lot of things went 15, 20% down. But if this is as big as the dip got, there's a lot of missed opportunities out there if you didn't pick anything up.
Yeah, I don't even really, that wasn't, yeah, like you were saying, that wasn't really too much of a dip. No. The only thing I was able to buy, I bought SMR at 30, it's at 32, so that's 5%. That's the only thing that I was able to pick up. But I'm still supporting like all the longs that we've had for a minute. So Marvell's nicely cooking up here too, up another 3%. As some of these names just continue to rock, right? We had Rivian up to 1550 again. And I'm trying to watch out. We talked about some of those healthcare names. UNH back down to 317 off a high of 381. So that one continues to move lower here. And then, yeah, IBIT in Bitcoin, like 1063 right there. Yeah, not great again. And in our fantasy football pool, this is 2 weeks in a row now. We play each other, and you play one matchup. So last week I was number 2 and out of 10, and I played number 1. This week I'm number 2 again, and I played number 1 again. So I go 0-2 when I should be 2-0. SMR, yeah, Julie.
See, that's in my other league. That's happened to me twice, but we play two matchups.
Yeah, so you go 1 and 1.
So like you'll go
We'll
1 and 1.
still go 1 and 1 in our pool too.
I know,
we
but
go against odds.
Yeah, but still.
But yeah, it still sucks. The odds of doing that, I don't think. And it's back-to-back weeks. That's the crazy thing about it. But yeah, no, we're excited. Yeah, the Bills, Packers tonight against Eagles. That's a huge game. Bills right now sitting in the 6th seed. But you know what? The Chiefs aren't even in the playoffs, so hopefully.
Yeah, well, that'll all resolve itself.
All of that will
I'm still mad about those Panthers, man.
What is
you gotta be kidding me, Carolina.
I mean, they beat the Saints. The Saints beat them. Other show or whatever.
Did you know
first win?
The first win
Getty up 2%.
by a rookie quarterback for New Orleans since 1981. They haven't had a rookie quarterback win a game in over 40 years. Of course, when we have them in suicide, or well, I guess, yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter. And when we have the Panthers, then we get eliminated. So we're out of that Wall Street suicide league.
Yeah, we always get eliminated from them. Oh, good, the plums. They were good. The plums are. Lots of snow around here. Randy said he got his snow tires in. I'm going to try to grab some of those tonight or tomorrow. Well, tomorrow, I guess, at this point.
You guys play, well, the second the snow came out, my daughter's like, she sees it in the Sunday morning and is like, we're going outside, right? I'm like, you know we're going outside. First
There wasn't that much snow.
Oh, we got a decent.
Oh, did you? We didn't get enough to do anything outside.
I'll find some pictures, but we had snowball fight. We went to the school and we're like making stuff in the snow. It wasn't the best packing snow, but it was good enough that, you know, get that right arm going and a little bit of a battle. Erin's getting good at dodging. She's very good at dodging.
We didn't even have enough to shovel.
Oh, well, I didn't shovel. No. Well, I could have shoveled a bit, but I decided not to.
Yeah. Okay, let's get back over to the desk here at 8:36. We should have Michael Noss coming through soon.
Yeah, he will be joining us here in a second. We'll talk a little bit about this government shutdown versus the reopen, what the market does in the past on a government shutdown versus when it does reopen. So apparently it's very, very positive. So yeah, stick around for that. Here's Rivian, as we were saying, back to 15.5 this morning. Nice rally off the lows going back to Friday. I guess it was 14.50. If you zoom out on a daily chart, you'll see why. Yeah, again, if you missed it, $4.8 billion worth of a CEO payday potentially coming through to RJ, taking a tip or two, I guess, from Elon's playbook.
Hey, he's not going to be outdone, Brendo. Just on the quantum, because there's a fundamental difference between these two. So $4.6 billion, up to, of course, if performance goals are met, very much structured similarly to Elon Musk's pay package. Look, so here's the deal. The package includes 36.5 million stock options priced at $15.22 a share, up to 16 million share increase from the prior award. The vesting is tied to Rivian hitting share or price targets from $40 to $140, along with new operating income and cash flow objective through 2032. But if you've been involved with Rivian since the IPO, you'll know that this one was around $140. Anyway, it was above 100 for sure. And then, you know, after that 2022 year when everything dropped down, we were markedly lower, Brendo. So we'll have to see how it does. Really good last week for Rivian, though.
Yeah, more and more of them appearing around this city as well on the streets of Toronto. Here's Robinhood gapping to the upside. Interesting story here this morning for Robinhood as well. We've heard this in the past from them, but finally setting up something that could potentially allow investors with Robinhood access to early stage IPOs before they come to market, which is interesting.
Absolutely, and I think Joe will be really pumped about this, Brendo, because we've been talking a lot about this on the midday show. He's already kind of thrown his hat into the ring there when it comes to these non-public equities that he's trying to tokenize on the blockchain to give, you know, retail investors, non-institutional, non-accredited investors. Sorry, there's a fly in my face. Access to some of these private markets. We're talking about the SpaceXs as well as, you know, the OpenAIs.
Yeah, Coinbase, interesting with a similar type of headline this morning as well. Not doing as much though, but nice cap here, guys, for both Rivian and Hood so far.
Yeah, and look, it seems like it's a bit of a theme that you have more people wanting to and actually investing in private funds, and like the reality is, it's just another way to get growth. You have companies that are going a lot longer, getting much more mature before they IPO. Like SpaceX is a good example. OpenAI might be an example. We'll see about that. But Robinhood, I think Robinhood's more of technical. Randy in the house. than anything else for me. Like, is this headline really 4%? No, we're 4% because everything is up. But I think it has more to do with that. But it held to 50, so like I'm just looking for, and a lot of stocks are going to have a similar setup. Like Thursday was day one of that. We had a nasty flush in the morning, and there was really only that one bounce midday. And where you got to, like 133 here was also morning resistance. So spots like this, and then you make that same kind of top on Friday, that's the spot. If we dip by and hold over that, then you're good to go. And there's some stocks that when you look at the rebound and look at that same structure, they kind of lost that Thursday support level or Thursday resistance level and held onto it underneath. So this one's above. I like Robinhood. It's above the 50 period back again. It needs to close there, really, but that 132.5, 133 is going to be the dip spot for me. As long as you're above there, there's a nice little gap that can get filled in to the upside. So look, it's following a trend of what I think makes sense, which is to get people, which is to get the average investor and retail investor the ability to put their money where they want to, because people want to be in SpaceX. Why not? I mean, at the end of the day, like, why should you have Big Brother telling you where you can and can't put your money? I understand the whole do your due diligence and make sure that you're safe, but I'm all for this in a sense. But as far as the stock moves, it's more technical than anything else. I don't know that store is really the reason Robinhood's up.
I mean, it's a huge bounce back, like you were saying, in all the markets right now. I mean, the Nasdaq being up, what, 1.5 now? Yeah, 1.5% here for the Nasdaq just shoots up a lot of names, right? So, but for me, I keep on talking about SoFi versus Robinhood. I prefer SoFi. You bounced into the 50-period moving average again and held one more time. So my basket's pretty full for SoFi right now, but this is one that if it does, if the VIX can really spike and the market does come back in for a little bit, I'm waiting for SoFi at this $25 mark. So we didn't get anything on that. I don't know if that was even real down to 26, but there it is, now bouncing up higher. So I really like it back into anywhere where we close. So 28 to 28.50, somewhere into here for SoFi. The 1 minute will play at some point here today. It seems to always do that. 28.50 is where that is. I just wrote down 28 here on the sticky note, and I was actually just looking here. That's the pullback. It's basically into the 200. That's 27.50, but the 200 here on the 5-minute chart just looks like we have some decent support in and around 28. Obviously, there's that dip into 25, like we were just talking about, and just didn't. The only thing I bought on Friday was SMRs. And that's because I'm not in it, so I wanted to get back into SMR, so we did that. But down here is a great little level. So if we can fall back into $28, I just think a lot of this garbage is now gone. With the government shutdown looking like it's going to end pretty soon, SoFi will be a beneficiary of that with the government loans, student loans and whatnot. So I think that we move higher here for SoFi, up 3% on not, any dramatic headlines or anything. I like SoFi here. I like the bank names. We continue to like JP Morgan is my favorite one. That's back to all-time highs right now as well after momentarily dipping. Like JP Morgan here went to 295, and since then it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost a week and a half or 2 weeks of straight upside, getting right back up to days to all-time highs again. So the bank stocks have really, really rebounded, led by, I think JP Morgan, I think is the strongest rebound back up. This is 94 to 101. Bank of America had some dip buy opportunities last week as well as they had their investor day. So, some opportunities maybe to pick up some Bank of America was last week, but they only went from 50 to 53. So I like the way JP Morgan is pacing out, but they're an expensive name. Robinhood still like it. And then Webull right now underneath $10. I'm still in this name, but I definitely did not buy any more of Webull. So, but that name's just been getting hit to the downside as well. So, there's lots to buy. There wasn't too many dips there. I mean, it was a good dip, but
the biggest dips were
3 to 5%.
Yeah, the biggest dips were in stuff like MP or Rigetti. Like it was that was the stuff where you got the real dip. Like most of these big caps.
The frothy stuff, right?
Yeah,
like the quantum, the nuclear. That's why I bought SMR. Like quantum, the nuclear.
Yeah.
Like I bought SMR for half of what I sold it for.
MP's up like 15 bucks. Oh.
Yeah, MP's great.
But that was a huge dip in MP.
Yeah, MP dropped almost 50% or more, I think. Same as SMR. So. Oklo, Rigetti, all those names. All right, we got Michael Noss here, so let's go see what he's talking about.
With some interesting data, let's bring him right in, and we'll talk about this government shutdown. We mentioned going into this, Mr. Noss, that this was not necessarily a negative for the market if you look back in time, but now we can kind of flip the script here as we get close to what could potentially be a deal or no deal kind of week. What has the market done as we go from a government shutdown back to reopening?
Yeah, it's funny. I'm so confused. I thought there was a deal, so I thought it was done, but I guess it's not. But this will still apply anyway. So the first slide I have here is exactly what Brendan was talking about. I just grabbed it from a tweet of mine, but I remember showing you guys the same data here. Surprisingly kind of angry responses to this tweet where I just said buy the government shutdown, because as we talked about in the last, we went back to 1990 and looked at all the shutdowns, and overwhelmingly pretty positive, one that was negative, one that was flat, and the longest one being kind of the best one that you saw there, just showing that either the market sees this stuff coming and it's already priced in, or however you want to look at this, but it's not necessarily, oh, it's really bad, the government's going to shut down, let's sell stocks. And then this next chart is kind of the exact opposite of that, like Brendan was talking about. What happens when we open back up? And for that first chart, it was for the length of the shutdown. So for how long the shutdown was, from when it shut down to when it opened back up. That was the initial chart. This one, I just did 1 month out. So what happens kind of roughly 1 month after most shutdowns, or after the same particular shutdowns that we were looking at above there. And in all cases, you can see positive, right? I wouldn't say that that's a 100% chance that we're going to move higher, just because that's a very small sample size, right? And anything could obviously happen from there. But seems like when it shuts down, it's a good thing, and when it opens back up, it's a good thing. And one thing that I wanted to note right off the bat is if you average all of these returns kind of 1 month out, it's roughly 3.5% to 4% across the board if you go a little bit further than that. So it's not huge. And when I'm looking down at the futures and I'm seeing that we're up 1% to maybe 1.5% already, I wonder if some of these might actually already be baked in, right? So this is from kind of the moment that it's open, which I know it's not yet, to what happened further. So I wonder if maybe the market knows this data and is forward looking. Just something I wanted to throw out there, because if you see the 1991 was like 1.2%, then we had 1.5%, we had 3%. So these aren't huge returns, but again, generally still positive there. So next, I just wanted to go through two charts. I went through the last two shutdowns just to see what they looked like, to see kind of on a chart how volatile they were when the shutdown was lifted. So the next chart was the 2018 shutdown that ended the end of 2019. And we moved up a little bit from there, just on the next chart here. And then we had if anyone remembers, the very end of 2018 and the very end of 2019 were pretty ugly markets. I remember especially Christmas, I think it was 2019, was pretty bad, but a nice solid trend into that. And then again, the end of 2018, what I cut off from this chart was we kind of came and gave it all back, and then 2019. But I think that's maybe far enough removed that it wasn't shutdown related. Then this next one was the end of the one that when we reopened in 2019. I just put a little orange circle for what happened next. So you can see a gap up on that day, and then we kind of gave it back and we kind of acted as normal, and nice uptrend from there. But I think that it might be more external factor related. So the way I was looking at this data when I was going through it all is it seems like there is an initial shock higher, an initial move higher after the actual report, which again, we might be front running or we might be seeing now. And then the market just kind of goes back to normal and just starts doing what it normally does. It's not like we have a screaming rip higher for weeks and weeks and weeks. It's okay, we've moved up a little bit and now we just continue to move on. So very quickly, I think we're going to get past this. We're going to look at it in the rearview mirror. We're going to forget all about it. And then we'll look forward to whatever is next for us in the trading world.
Yeah, two aspects that come to mind right off bat that could be positively influenced. I was actually surprised to see that airlines specifically were not higher this morning, given what happened going into last weekend, given that, you know, there was so much fear ahead of the travel holiday around Thanksgiving, U.S. Thanksgiving to come. So if they get that cleared up and travel gets back to normal, should be positive for them. The second was the simple fact that if you go back to the first chart you showed there, one of the first charts you showed there, the prior longest period of a government shutdown actually produced the biggest return going out that 1 month or period after the reopening. So if that's any kind of indication, as you said, very small sample size, but if that's any kind of indication, maybe some sort of positivity to come. The other is obviously government data. We haven't had really any significant government data in a few weeks, and we're supposed to get CPI inflation data coming up this week. So let's see if that happens.
Yeah, and I think it's an interesting point that you did there, that both the longest shutdown generate the most results during the shutdown and the best results after the shutdown. So I wonder, if you go back and look at this, does that mean that there was the best deals for the market that were sorted out during those period of time? That's what I think could kind of be the next focus. Is we don't have a deal and it's not technically signed yet, but what does the deal include? What sectors could that benefit? Things like that. So, for example, healthcare. Obviously, there's a little tantrum on healthcare this morning, and that's kind of carrying forward through this stock. And like I talk about, healthcare is an important sector for the S&P 500. Where if that can't get going, that's going to drag back returns. So, when the actual deal is done, if people are looking for kind of what's the next move or what's the next alpha from this, I would dive into it and see, okay, who is getting the money and potentially who is not getting the money, and there might be some trades there in order to take.
Great stuff. Michael Noss, we'll catch you again after the close tonight. Best of luck today.
Talk to you then. Have a good day.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. And look, obviously needing to get through the House. Never a done deal, but would like to see the shutdown ended. I think maybe these last hurdles are why. Like, I looked at AAL. It was kind of one of those prime opportunities for it to be potentially breaking back out. It was strong going into this, kind of a triple top here, but nothing yet. You can see just a little trepidation, and it can't seem to get through. And oddly enough, it's 1420. Can't make these numbers up. It always, I don't know, 420 just pops up everywhere, but 1420, thought that would be a potential breakaway runner on signs of a deal, but it might actually wait till we get a pen to paper. So not out of the clear yet, but obviously the market has other reasons why it's trying to bounce. And I would suspect you're going to see some repricing and some upgrades and some downgrades and lots of options action, which is why we go to Joe.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Monday. I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. Let's get it started. Blue Ocean, lots of volume last night, but let's take a look at the upgrades and downgrades. To start it off, guys, we got Canopy Growth Corp getting that that rating raised from a sell to a hold up 2.5% by benchmark. And then Eli Lilly by Leerink Partners getting that price target raised to $1,100. Now, MP Materials also getting the nod as well, too, guys, getting that price target raised to $71, and Piper Sandler by Goldman Sachs price target to $386. Now, as for Cleveland Cliffs, we're going to look at that as a downgrade, guys. Price target to $13 by KeyCorp, and then we have Chevron by Piper Sandler lowering that target to $169. Now, as for DraftKings, guys, Sanford C. Bernstein, $41 is going to be that price target. And green across the board, you can see we're all positive on the session. And then Moderna, the last on the list, price target lowered to $21, still fractionally up here, guys, by Bank of America. Now, as for some of the options activity, we're going to take a look at OpenDoor. I like this one from an open interest standpoint. There was quite a bit there, and the volume was relatively cool. So I'm going to look at this as some potential options writing for now. This is going to be expiring at the end of the week, so November 14th. At that $10 strike price, we have 12,800 contracts with 4,800 roughly traded and closed on that session. Now, as for some of the Bitcoin activity, MicroStrategy here, looking at it as a leveraged product, open interest around 16,100, but the volume at that 265 strike price was very attractive, guys. 23,400 contracts traded, and once again expiring at the end of the week. Now, as for NVDA, guys, open interest at that 205 level, I'm going to be looking at this as a potential call while we had 39,400 contracts traded at that specific level. Until we have the ability to breach that, I'm looking at as 205 as potential resistance zones, guys.
That would be spicy OpenDoor at $10 because, well, at $5 on Friday, that was the shot after earnings, and it's only shot back to the upside. This one it's kind of asking for $7 to break out today. That's probably the only, like, look, it's pretty clear. Like $7 was the support level before that Thursday resistance. How many stocks have yet to break that Thursday resistance? Some above, some below. This one seems like a 7 break. I don't know if the volume's okay on it today, but there's nothing specific about it that really stands out. But it's got to be on the radar because that's a pretty big gap to fill if it can hold on to 7. And this one, the other thing to keep in mind about OpenDoor is it opened down over 10% on Friday. So it is going to be the uptick rule in effect. It's SSR today. That's another reason to kind of look at this one for potential breakout play. It's a little harder for the shorts to hammer down on the stock, but if it doesn't break 7, I'm not really interested in it today.
Yeah, I looked at Nvidia there for that 205 coming there for the Friday. I mean, I think it's possible, but this is a name though where I don't think we like really get back up to all-time highs. I mean, that would be 212, 213 here. You're less than 2 weeks away now from earnings for Nvidia. I'm not like 100% convinced that this wants to get back up into these levels until we get to earnings. There hasn't been like a name that's announced more deals, I feel like, than Nvidia from their last report till now. So this is a name where we want to wait to see how they're accruing some of those, what those numbers look like. We have some highlights today about Blackwell in China and things like that. So for me, I think that 205 would be amazing if we get back to anywhere near here, near all-time highs by this Friday. So that's an interesting call there when we looked at some of those options. So yeah, I think is it possible? Yes. I kind of want to short if we can get into this area, which happens to be like right near that level, 204, 205. And I don't mean short in the long term. I'm not selling anything of Nvidia, but just, looking to see if we can bounce back. It was just 170, 178 at the very lows. Back up to 195 there, that's $20. You need another 10 to get back up here. Is it possible? Yes, but that's an interesting one for me. The OpenDoor, you never know with those kind of stocks. I think that's interesting. And then we just had MSTR. They've had quite a move down. We still know that Bitcoin is about 20% off of its all-time highs still. So, MicroStrategy similarly, but they're down way more than its all-time high. So I think if there is going to be some get up to Bitcoin, probably MSTR has some reasons to go back to the upside there as well. So yeah, all very, very interesting names. OpenDoor, Bitcoin, and then with MicroStrategy or strategy, and then back over with our first one there in Nvidia. So yeah, I like Nvidia in the chip space. With their earnings, we still have to have.
Yeah.
So, an interesting one. I have Nvidia written down as my top stock here today, but it's going to have to dip by before we buy it. So, all right, 857. The lockdown here. Let's go over to Kalshi because right now it's basically saying that we're almost over. It's 44 days, so that's midweek. So Thursday, about the 14th. We have it started on October 1st, so we are predicting now with Kalshi here that this gets, you still have 36 cents to the yes, but we're looking at this week. So hopefully, if the betting markets are right or the predictive markets are right, then you'll get that shutdown. I think that bodes well for banks, which is why I have SoFi written on here, and while I'll continue to watch out for XLF and some names even like a Robinhood and whatnot. So,
before we head back, we have a super chat from Ruchi Shah. Any ideas for SanDisk and Corning, GLW, going forward? Long at 4. Which one are you long at 4? There's a very big difference between being long Corning at 40 and being long SanDisk at 40, because this one's going insane. Like, this is like Captain Insano over here.
September, that was $60.
Yeah, like these memory names have been going ham. I think we had a question about this last week. I don't know how you don't ring some register up here when you have a move like this. Like, this one would be 6x if this is the one you have at 40. I don't know. I mean, the way it's worded seems like maybe it's Corning, but either way, this feels like a take profit type of place. There's not even, like, this didn't, like on Thursday and Friday, this didn't even dip. So it's a lot of strength happening here, and I get it. Like, Micron's sort of a similar thing where Micron's already back at its all-time high, just like SanDisk is. But I'd be more of a take the profits. You got to bring some register on something like this. It's just been, it's so far so fast. But that's just me. For GLW, I can't remember the last time I looked at Corning, to be honest. This is, yeah, it's holding the 50, it's holding structure and holding the 50 period. But again, it has that look, like you've made a top, head and shoulders style pattern. So many things look like they're at, if you haven't take profit, haven't taken profit, you should be looking to bring some register, but especially on SanDisk. I mean, it's been a monster, no doubt, but wow, a little too far for me.
Yeah, the like Micron, some of the storage names like SanDisk and all this kind of stuff continue to be higher. So I think that's about right, man. If you're in those names, I like taking profit at levels. We talk about that all the time, and I think that SNDK is definitely. I mean, that had a huge candle on Friday, so I would take that. Big earnings. We talked about that last week. So yeah, this is up. Trader Forever. We're up on. Sticky notes up. It's up on X, so go find it. All right, man, it's 9 o'clock. Time to go through the rundown.
All right, guys, 67.54. That's where we closed out Friday on the ES December contract. We're above 6,800 right now. What a move up here. A gap up over the weekend and a very, very strong close on Friday. The overnight high is 23. But we're printing 17 right now. So we're basically a few points away from the overnight high. So what we're going to say is if we continue trending up, we're looking at 68.50 as that first area of resistance. Brendo, if we sell off for whatever reason, let's see if 6,800 catches us as support.
Big week ahead, potentially. Potentially. We'll see what happens with this deal or no deal concept. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you grab the free watch list. Comes right to your inbox every single morning. All you need is your email address. Hit the link. It's in the description below. Top link will get you to the sign up page, and then you get that for free. A lot to understand here this morning on an individual basis, in addition to what's happening with the overall market. Let's go. Nvidia here. Nice move back to 194 after a V bottom, to say the least, on Friday. It was straight higher after the morning rush. We get through 190 and then a big $4 gap here this morning.
Look at that.
I know, demand still
aggressive.
through the roof, according to Jensen.
That was an aggressive. I wasn't here on Friday, obviously, but Brendo, I had to keep my eye on things, and wow, that was a beautiful move. Let's talk about what Jensen is doing, where he's at, and what he's saying. Well, he's back in Taiwan, and he's speaking to CC Wei, obviously the CEO of Taiwan Semi, and he confirmed during question period that there are very strong demand still for the company's next-gen Blackwell chips. As we know, Blackwell integrates GPU, CPU, and networking. He praised Taiwan Semi's manufacturing excellence, saying there would be no NVIDIA success without Taiwan Semi, and this marks his 4th trip, Brendo, to Taiwan this year, marking the importance of the island, of course, for his build-out. He did acknowledge that there's going to be potential component shortages, noting that as demand scales, there's always going to be shortages in different things. He's specifically citing, though, high bandwidth memory, which we know he sources from SK Hynix, Samsung, and Micron. And just to give you an idea, Brendo, SK Hynix has sold their entire 2026 inventory for high bandwidth memory. They don't even have anything to sell unless they can get new capacity online, giving you an idea of how much demand is still strong.
And echoing Elon's sentiment from the investor call last week, or the investor day presentation last week, where he said, we'll take all they can give us and then anything else they can find on top of that. So the narrative continues here, guys, for production shortages.
Bye, apparently, on all this stuff. And look, obviously, NVIDIA already had that move on more than a V-shaped recovery. You see, there needs to be a name for it when it goes, when you get the complete V and then you break out the top in the afternoon as well. Like, it's just something a little bit better than that. But the 50 period held pretty gorgeously. Now the only issue I have with NVIDIA today is you're kind of consolidating a little bit in the middle. Like, I can make a good argument about 193.5, but I looked and I was like, okay, well, 190 to 191 I like, and that's going to be $4 down, $3.50 to $4 down for that prior resistance to support. So I just came over and looked over at AMD, because AMD has a break of that level. So at least with AMD, I can play breakout, and if we never break out, I guess it ends up being short underneath 243.5. But I'll let that settle out itself on the first 15-minute candle. If it closes underneath, then I start thinking about short. Otherwise, I want to play a little catch-up here. Because that Thursday resistance, like that bounce resistance, like NVIDIA's through it and would take a couple bucks to pull back, whereas AMD can break this one out relatively early. But most of the chips have a very similar pattern going to them. I'm going to stay away from things like, there's something about the Micron, and we were talking about this just a second ago with like SNDK, and then I guess you could also throw in Western Digital with this. But like the things that have already made like fresh highs today, I'm a little bit more skeptical about them today. So I'm going to stay away from them for a day. But AMD setting up for that potential break, 243
I have Nvidia marked down here, and we're going to talk about it a little bit. This is my number one trade between 188 and 190. I think these are buy zones here. Jensen talking nicely about China and Blackwell here again today. Yeah, like if we can, so I wrote down 188 to 190. So we closed obviously right there on Friday at 188. I don't think we're going to dip back into those levels. But if we could, you know, we can fall, like just to see. I just don't know if we're out of the clear yet. Like, it's a nice story. Sure, we've got some sort of olive branches here for the shutdown, but like Nvidia on Friday opened up at 185, and then just momentarily it was at 182 before obviously, you know, hitting the skids down there to 179. I don't think we're going to get anything dramatic like that, but if you do get that $2 or $3 move down, that brings us into the 200 period moving average. Let's see what winds up happening. I'm going to use 190 as some sort of support, but then I don't, the reason why I wrote down 188 is I want to make sure that we can hold something if it does get back into those kind of levels. I don't want to punch out immediately. I want to try to take shares. Once we get into here, this is where that last support area is, 190. Get all this garbage out of here and then get higher into, like I said, I think we can drift into some of these levels. That's why that 205 for Friday is pretty interesting for me on that options call. I think we just kind of drift higher, and then next week we worry about earnings, right, as they're coming next week. So I still really like Nvidia down here. I think it's, you know, the dog that wags this whole tail. And right now the market's up. Nvidia's up 3.5%. Market's up 1.5%. If there's a sell-off early, this is the name I want to dip by. It's just so strong, and we know there's buyers here. Like, look what happened once the market turned around on Friday, right? This thing just absolutely ripped up. This and Palantir, we smoked Palantir on Friday. It was a great trade to the long, and it just kept on going. So if there's those good feels, I like it, but I'm not ready to say, let's just get in there and just hop in and buy immediately. Like, this is a big recovery, right? The ES is only up 0.9, which is still great, but it's trying to fade back a little bit. Nasdaq's trying to fade back. Let's wait to see what these imbalances are. I could see a little bit of a sell. A lot of traders that got long there on Friday were waking up to some nice profits, could hit some of these names back down a little bit. So I like Nvidia. I think the demand's going to be there. Obviously, we like the AI story, and I don't think it ends right here. Nvidia, I think, for the win. I like the AMD look. Intel probably be traded here today as well.
Shoot. Yeah, that Intel has a good level too. But
yeah, lots of names here to look at. Just a matter of picking your poison and seeing what sets up. Sometimes they all don't move together, and then hopefully we'll be able to find, like, if AMD's ripping and Nvidia's not, you know, then we can switch up our mind and maybe go to the strong one versus the weak one, depending on what you're doing. So
maybe SMCI is the one that's the most in play today.
Yeah, SMCI is great. SMCI or Dell or maybe even Tesla with some cyber exec news. Yes.
Maybe. Yeah.
Heading to the doors. They are.
The Rivian.
Tesla here. Back downside right now, but we did get a nice gap. After 2 days in a row on the negative side of things coming off of that investor presentation last week. If you missed it, I mean, it's all over the internet. It's worth going back and watching, specifically Elon's part and the Q&A I thought was very, very interesting.
Fantastic.
Some of the questions that he was getting. But anyways, yeah, head of Cybertruck division walks out.
He's out, Brendo, and he's been with the company for 8 years. He actually had a little bit to do with the Model 3 program as well, so he had a bit of a dual role. I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, but yeah, he was the head of Tesla's Cybertruck program. He's gone now. He was the head of Cybertruck engineering, product strategy, quality control, and he is leaving the company. There's also demand headwinds right now with Tesla. So as we know, they posted record Q3 deliveries because of the bring forward of the expiration of the $7,500 EV tax credit. Now analysts are expecting a sharp drop-off in Q4 with respect to sales. We'll have to see if that materializes. But we do have data out of China, and the October China sales plunged to 26,000 vehicles, the lowest it's been since 2021, and a 35.8% year-over-year decline. The Tesla market share collapsed to 3.2%, down from 8.7% in September. Well, how come? Because there was a huge pull forward of demand, Brendo, in September when they launched the Model Y L, which is that longer wheelbase, longer range. And they're saying, despite that, you know, we'll have to see how the winter goes.
Which brings up an interesting point. And that was one of the things I thought they didn't really touch on during that investor presentation last week was not necessarily the Model Y L, but the cheaper versions of the Model Y and the Model 3. There really wasn't any kind of data or Q&A even on either of those as far as sales have gone.
None. And what caught my attention was exactly as you mentioned, the lack of information about anything to do with the Model Y L coming to North America. There's good demand for 3-row SUVs, as we see with the R1S, with all the other ones. And who can say no to more range? Yeah. And so I didn't get that.
It was clear his plan was to talk mostly robots and AI and autonomous everything across the board, but not a lot of price action here so far this morning, guys, for Tesla.
Okay, so hold on a second. First off, we'll get to Tesla in a second, but Roger in the chat, Gap, I like this, Gap and Trap versus Gap and Go. Which one do we have?
From?
But where did you, like, this is, I'm not going to search the emojis. Can we show this? Yeah, I'm not going to search the emojis, but like, it even has like the mouse trap emoji, which I was saying to Sean, the cheese is way too big. Like, the cheese is like the size of the opening of the box.
A bear?
Like, that doesn't, it's like way too big. Like what kind? I don't know what kind of rat you're trying to catch there, but that would be a little bit intense. The good news for Tesla is, does anyone care about the Cybertruck?
No.
So then,
well, the Cybertruck's the #1 selling truck in North America.
Okay, fine, fair enough. That's true. But in terms of growth for Tesla, like the reason this gets to all-time highs again is not going to be because the Cybertruck. So I think maybe that ends up not being the biggest story. I think a lot of what else, Sharif was saying with regards to sales, that might matter a little bit more. You have this like juxtaposition where like some people are looking farther ahead to, it's really only about robotics and Optimus, and it's really only about automated self-driving, and others are looking at their quarterly sales numbers and saying, hey, well, what about this story that doesn't look so good? Well, the stock's telling you which one is being priced in. And for the reason Tesla wasn't like big time on my radar is I think our support's down at 420 and that 50-period moving average. That got proven. It's on the verge of diddling in the middle, but the thing about Tesla, like it's right at that key price level, 438. And if Tesla's right there, I don't trust it. Well, there is that fly.
God, how did the fly come all the way over here?
Yeah, it's decent size.
It's like one fly in here. It's like -4 degrees outside.
And it's very slow, so that's killable today. But if we're too tight to this 438, so I want us trading away from it, maybe breaking away from 432 to fill in the gap. I feel like if you lose this bid, you're heading down a little bit too quickly there. So I'm gonna stay away from Tesla. I think the 420 is the spot to wait for on Tesla if you like the long, and if you think it's impossible, well, pretty much every single open has had to move that big in Tesla for the last week.
Yeah, so for Tesla right here, we talked about it being a sell the news event there, that vote, and I think that is what you got. And if you just believed that that was the case, then you had a great buying opportunity down here at the 50-period moving average right there. So you came really close. I mean, there's been a few names. You talked about SoFi getting down to that $26 and a nice bounce there. Now you have 421, 422 here as a low for Tesla. We talked about that as possibly being a great buy zone, and it looks like you're being rewarded right here. But you're only halfway back right now. So I like the stock. It looks to me kind of like it wants to fade through a little bit right here. I don't want to get too excited about any of these plays. Like I said, I think we want to wait to see this market open up today before we really get excited on this. So I'm going to wait to see what Tesla can give us here. But for me, yeah, wait on this one. The 200 period's not good enough for me on the 200, on the 1 minute chart. That's only at 436. I think we got to get significantly lower here. Yeah, into 430 or so for me is something on Tesla. I'm just going to wait to see if we can get down to there. That's the close from Friday. So to me, it's just like that's the top, 439. Then we got going. We got to 439.50, then 438.75, then 438.50. So seems like we're trying to get a little lower here in TSLA. But let's give it a breath off the open and not try to jump immediately into this name.
If anyone wondering what that noise in the back is, that's the staple gun. Now I don't know if Russell's using the same one that Snoop picked up in The Wire. But that is one of the best cold open scenes of a season of all time.
I still haven't seen The Wire.
Trust, when Snoop goes in to buy a staple gun, it's legit. That's the best written show of all time.
Yeah, okay. I still have to get to that.
And speaking of the hood,
I just got a message, you know, there's a package that I have to pick up still. I just have to answer this call and push 1, and it will send me directly.
Oh, that's
there has to be amazing package.
That's perfect.
Yeah, that's coming up right here. I think I'm definitely going to phone this person back.
I think you should.
Delete.
Definitely.
Crazy.
They're getting less creative, I find.
I know. The good thing about it is, like I was saying, it doesn't really ring through anymore on Apple. They have to tell you what they want, so it just went right to voicemail, and the guy left a message, which it was, I guess, turned into text, so I was able to read it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Hood is apparently very strong today.
Back and forth we go here. If you zoom out a little bit, going back to Thursday over here, a big red day, and then Friday a little bit more selling before the rally and the close. So about halfway back through that entire round trip at this point. It's interesting, as I was saying, this headline is very similar to the one that Coinbase has right now, which it seems like they're both going to, that was the Tesla headline you started there, but they're both going to allow investors through tokenized assets access to pre-IPO type businesses.
Yeah, I kind of remember that EO that Donald Trump put in where he allowed, you know, kind of private equity and private credit into retirement plans. Kind of building on that, Breno, that deregulatory push. So let's talk about it. Robinhood plans to launch a new fund under Robinhood Ventures, allowing everyday investors to buy shares in private AI companies, not just private companies in general. For now, they're keeping the niche to AI companies. The fund will target a concentrated portfolio of about 5+ what they're calling best-in-class AI firms, with CEO Vlad Tenev saying this gives normal people exposure to the drivers of AI disruption rather than just the institutional or the qualified investors. As I mentioned, Brendo, this builds on the Trump EO, which eased access of private equity and private credit into retirement plans. The number of U.S. private companies, give you this data point, very interesting. The number of U.S. private companies valued at over $1 billion has exploded from 20 in 2016, Brendo, to over 1,000 in 2024, because we don't have, obviously, the data for all of 2025 quite yet. And the fund is going to be closed-ended, meaning investors can't redeem shares freely, right, raising liquidity concerns. But that is always an issue with the private markets. You can't punch in and punch out as quickly as you can some of these public names.
Just quickly, this is the Coinbase headline, more of a platform angle to essentially the same concept. So Coinbase was starting to move on that as well, guys.
Yes, they are. But you know what? There's something you guys have been asking for a long time. And that is a big opportunity, which is launching soon. It's like, well, how do we learn? What do we use? How can you take advantage of our knowledge and the platform here? And that's the Trader TV Academy. And it's launching very, very soon. This is a learning-based platform, and it's based on the same training materials used when we first started trading. It's built for traders around the world, no matter what your experience level might be. So starting, medium, you could be almost expert, and you can still find something valuable for you. So stay tuned for more info. Make sure you're subscribed, and also make sure that you're following us on all socials for updates, everybody. So the Trader TV Academy is launching soon. We're very excited about it, and hope you guys are too. And maybe in that learning, you'll see things like moving averages. I don't know, like Robinhood, bouncing off the 50-period moving average. We like that. I like that. I don't know if this story is what gets it back to all-time highs, but hey, after earnings, this was a mini quadunk, did a huge, more than V-shaped recovery on Friday. That was the thing. Like, there are a few stocks that like really broke it out. This one did over a 132.5 to 133 support level. I think the dip is into that area this morning, and that's where it has to hold. It's got to hold these tops from Friday, which is also resistance on Thursday. You can do that. Then you're holding on to the 50 period on the daily, which is about 131, and it's kind of like a bounce and go. Will it break out that triple top at the highs? For a day trade, it doesn't really matter to me. I'm a little bit skeptical of that, but for now, looking for that bounce here in the hooded one.
Yeah, I have SoFi written down here rather than Robinhood. I always go back to SoFi. I mean, I like the price action a little bit better on it. It's only a $28 or $29 name, but I said we're waiting for a pullback here. As I really like the space, we just bounced off the 200, so you can go find that. I'll put that maybe in the chat again, the sticky note. But yeah, just a pullback into 28 bucks and change here for SoFi. I like that level. It's where we closed on Friday. We closed really 28.50, but if we can get back, well, that's kind of where we bumped into in the after hours. But if we can get back back down to there. I think the government reopening here, it looks like in the next 4 or 5 days, we should be getting that according to predicting markets. I like SoFi. I like the banks in this environment. And look, man, it's hanging out. It's holding up pretty good. I do expect a little bit of a flush off the open. So I want to sit here. I'm already bidding SoFi. I'm bidding 28.25. I know that means it needs to fall 75 cents. I think we could do that on SoFi, right? I mean, it's done that before. I think every open, and I sometimes get stopped out of SoFi because I take too many shares too early, and then it drifts on me a little bit. But right into here, I'm pretty confident with it. If we can get anything into this $28 mark, like there's $27.50. I really think that would maybe be where I'd decide to jump out of it. That's sort of where we stopped before we gapped down there on Friday. So $27.50 I think would be my pain point here, but I'm going to start it at 28.25. I like SoFi on any dip downs. I mean, we could check XLF. We've done that already. Or I'm really thinking that honestly, wow, JP Morgan's up another 50 cents since we last looked at it, but no volume. I think that this could be a good break too. It doesn't move multiple dollars in a day, really, JPM. It kind of moved $1, $1.50, $2. But if we can get up into that area here today, 318, I think we break through on JP Morgan. I like this level there. But yeah, I don't know what was going on. Like we actually got into like 280. Is that even something that even happened on JP Morgan? Sometimes I just don't trust these charts because I look back.
I think
yeah, we did. We got to 290. Yeah, so that wick was not right. I was going to say we didn't get anywhere near the 200 period. But there's JP Morgan down into 290 and change, back up to now 314, 315, looking to break higher. So I like all the bank names, so I'm going to take a baby bank with SoFi. And just, again, I like the millennial push. I like their younger clientele. And I really thought their quarter was great. So on any weakness in the market, I know that SoFi will get hit because it's considered a frothy name, and it does have about a 7 to 8% short flow last time I checked. I like SoFi here today to dip by. Gold, not at all-time highs, but we're approaching them right now, and gold's had a big move back, and I think that's part of Bitcoin's move as well, as a lot of these asset classes seem to calm down a little bit here today. Gold back to only where I bought it, man, 377. So GLD. Maybe there's some value in the miners. We had Raheem on talking about that a couple weeks ago as well. So let's go find the story here with gold and see what Sharif and Brendan's opinions are.
Yeah, there's a macro argument towards potentially that coming at some point this week, but we'll see what happens. I wanted to start with this. Here's the dollar, 3 red days in a row. As I was mentioning early on when we came on, we started a lot lower this morning, but we are starting to bounce here. If you go to some of the treasuries, you're going to see basically the same thing. Oh, we're back to lows now on the 10-year, but even the 10-year and the 30-year were trying to bounce as we came on at 8:30. Not the case right now, back lower after hitting 4.15, 4.5 on the 30-year, 4.15 on the 10-year. So a little bit of pressure on the higher end of the scale to start things off this morning is helping gold. Big green candle so far today for gold.
Yeah, and that 4,000 hold was clutch, Brendo. I don't think I saw too many prints below that level. Good look there. Barrick Gold as well, reporting earnings this morning. Q3, look, record cash flow and higher gold prices are some of the reasons it's up 4 2/3 despite a miss, guys, on the top and bottom lines. Talk about it. 58 pennies per share, missing the 61 expected on revenue of $4.15 billion, also missing on the top line. Street was looking for 4.36, but look, it's up 4 2/3 as traders focused on strong operational metrics rather than the top bottom line miss. And they also reaffirmed their full 2025 year guidance. Brendo, they're making less, or they're extracting less gold than they were last year. Somehow the market likes that, even though they took about 829,000 ounces of gold in Q3, excuse me. That's down from the 943 they took home this quarter last year. But copper output, they're not just a one-trick pony. 55,000 tons, Brendo. That's a 15% jump year over year, and we're seeing copper obviously very much in play now with AI.
Yeah, this is how gold futures are looking so far. As you mentioned, 4,000 a key level there. Sat on 4,000 for a week and a half. Starting to get that bounce, guys. Volume a little bit light here so far this morning.
You can get away with extracting less if the value of what you were extracting continues to go up. So that certainly does seem to be the case. I actually like silver for a trade a little bit more today. But look, you can say great pullback and then breaking out what was a week's long worth of resistance for both gold and silver. SLV, I've just been tracking this one a little bit closer. And I thought there was a 44.80 breakout happening. last week. It obviously never did. I'm like, it's setting up pretty well technically, and we've got through it. So as we're dipping back, because, hey, we're underneath VWAP here, both gold and silver have been falling pretty much most of the morning since we sat down here. I think a gap fill to this prior high, 44.8, or these prior highs, 44.3. Right? So either Friday's highs or the gap high from, I guess this will be like the 23rd if you're trying to follow along. That's where I'm looking on silver in particular. So that's what I'm going to be trading. It's 44.8, 44.3 for a little bit of a dip and rip. I think it might require a little bit of patience. Certainly, this has been, it was trend down on Thursday and Friday, but there were really good bounces both times. Now that you're through resistance, I want to play the dip into said resistance.
I mean, like I was saying, I didn't buy too much in this dip, right? And it's going to look like it's not the greatest call to be doing that. By the way, the imbalances just came out. I think they're bids. I mean, look at the Nasdaq really starting to go right now. Anyways, I'm going to call that up in a minute. But gold down at 360. Next time we'll dip buy. Now that we've seen some kind of support, let's make that kind of move. We're just long right here right now, but it's underneath VWAP, underneath the 50, underneath everything. Just the 200 is the only support that we have left. So maybe 374 for GLD. But we don't really trade it too much. But I do like gold. I like it as not necessarily a hedge, just another piece of the pie in the portfolio. You know, have some gold exposure. It's been on a mission all year, up more than the S&P 500. Oh, what I want to do is quickly, we got to go back over. We only have Rivian. I'm holding back a sneeze, but I do want to have a quick little look here. Archer, there's Nvidia. So part of Big Bear AI reporting later on today as well. And we'll talk about that. Nvidia with the big mover here. That's the only name of any real significance. I mean, there's lots of names that we'll talk about. MP Metals, we talked about that dip buy opportunity as well. That's starting to move up. I just saw SMR. SMR is the only name that I bought on Friday, and that's up 5%, so we're happy with that one. Beyond Meat, maybe getting a bid a little bit there, up to 140. Joby, LAC, Soundhound comes with a report as well, I believe, soon. So that's coming out. That might be today. We'll double check on that as well. But SQQ, which is the sell side, is a sell. So maybe a buy then coming for the Nasdaq. So look what's happening here. All buys. Except for whatever PCSA is, which is 30 cents. So we've seen all sells before. We let it sort of come down in and then buy that dip. But right now with all buys on here, it's almost the other way around, as we'll wait to see if the Nasdaq now obviously gets a little bit bumped up. You're not seeing a huge move or anything, but maybe these buy orders rally us a little bit and then we come back in here. So I'm looking for fading the pot maybe early and see if we can catch up on some bids as the market falls after those buy imbalances are sort of paired off. So, all right, 927 right now. Hi, Randy and Russ. There they are. Hey, guys. All right, it's Rivian Day. So there we go. Let's go find out what this payday is for RJ, possibly. RJ. It's only just south of $5 billion.
Nah.
I mean, what are you going to do with $5 billion?
Will he ever get it?
He should be asking for at least 7 or 8. I mean, $5 billion, he barely gets me out of bed.
If it ain't a trillion, it doesn't.
Yeah, what's up?
Come home crying.
Yeah. Let's go to Rivian, back to the top end of the range here if you zoom out. This is a daily chart. That's the high. A lot of people have been eyeing over the past week or so, 16. RJ taking a page out of Elon's playbook here with his latest proposal for pay.
Yeah, and he couldn't have done it without a good report, and that's what they had last week, Brendo. Randy, very happy as he's been bag holding. Rivian, let's talk about this, guys. Rivian unveiled a revised 10-year pay package for CEO RJ Robert Scaringe, potentially worth up to $4.6 billion only if performance goals are met, very similar to Elon's pay package. Let's talk about those. So the package includes 36.5 million stock options priced at $15.22 a pop, about a 16 million share increase from his prior award. The vesting is tied to Rivian hitting share price targets from $40 all the way up to $140, several tranches along the way, alongside a new operating income and cash flow objectives, Brendo, through 2032.
So we'll see how things pan out today, but again, this thing's been kind of back and forth, guys, for quite some time now.
It is, and you know what? I didn't have this one on the list for like a breakout. I don't know if I think this will be a join if it ends up breaking out this top. It's just not as clean as the 14. Like up here at about like $16 could get spicy, but you got a little bit of overhead resistance right in this top. It'll be like a stay away, and then willing to join any trend if it does. I feel like the biggest move kind of already happened last week, and I wouldn't want to get too wrapped up. With only 1 minute to go, we literally didn't talk about the healthcare names that are down. So I'm going to quickly throw out that Oscar will be It's a 200 period, and at $15.95, it's SSR. So I'm looking for a 200 period bounce, an SSR bounce. The president essentially just truth about healthcare valuations, and that's why they're down. If that's the big reason they're down, and of course, ACA spending, obviously going to be a bit of contentious recently. But I think you can get a bounce off this. I'm just looking for an SSR bounce. Could happen relatively early. Again, at $15.95, this one is SSR.
Nvidia is starting to go back upside right now as we get with only 20 seconds to go. I was watching SoFi, so I'm bidding SoFi, bidding Nvidia, but Nvidia is going right now. We may have to take even 193, but here we go with only 10 seconds left. Apple's on my mind. We didn't get to that. SMR down at 30. This opening bell is brought to you by Origenics. Make sure you do scan that QR code, find out all about the concussion treatment market. Thank you, Ogen, for sponsoring one more time. All right, so Apple's on my mind as well here today, but we'll watch out to see if Nvidia does anything. Apple just took off right there off the open. So it was down 269, now breaking through 270 goes Apple, looking to take out those highs. We don't have too many highs that we have to worry about until 273, but there it goes right now, Apple off to the races. Bitcoin coming down a little bit right now, so that's something to watch out for. I don't need to get involved immediately, as we did have a lot of those buy imbalances trying to sort of come off right now. It looks like SoFi does touch our 200 period moving average and bounces right back. That's normally a buy zone, but we were waiting for lower, so 28.25 right now for SoFi. But Tesla, good luck to everybody. Yeah, Tesla's doing something.
Tesla looks like it's making the biggest move. I have Oscar up right now because it's challenging that SSR bounce. But I'll show you Tesla breaking $442, 3% to the upside. Yeah. So that man, well, it's not going to get him the $1 trillion, but certainly making a power move in here. So you're getting a little bit of that down move right now on Oscar. It's now SSR, but I need to see that recovery first, and that recovery coming back through 16 on the way back to the upside. All the healthcare names getting a little bit of a ding. Also, this stock is not open yet, I just realized. So I'm not taking, it's a New York name, so I just looked over the book. This one doesn't have the opening print on the NYSE, so I might come back to that after it has had said opening print. AMD, kind of a nothing, I don't want to call it a nothing burger, but it tried to break out 43.5 is a big resistance, so has not taken out that key resistance point yet in AMD, but it has a chance. 243.5 is the zone. I just realized I got to put my order in.
I'm going to try just quickly here for a quick little short in the market just to see if we've seen that top. We did have that big buy imbalance there, so let's just give this a chance to see. We're going to get out here at 111 if it does break. That high wick right there today
still not open?
Oh, we don't even have it on there marked down. That's basically 111 flat. Let's give it just a little bit more. Again, this is just to see if there is sort of any kind of a bid sort of exhaustion happening right now. It's, we have a good position on, but with a very, very tight stop. It's not something that we're, too nervous about right now, but if we could take 15 cents or so on this, if we get into the low 70s, let's take a little bit off there because that's where we bounced last time on this name. And again, just trying to wait to see if some of those buy imbalances eventually sort of come off a little bit. It was a nice rally up, but you could see that like a name like Nvidia is going to have to fall in. That's not really happening for this trade to work out yet. We've seen Apple start to sort of moon a little bit. Wow, moon a little bit. Apple's really starting to go. Okay, well, we did just get those. So we just did get 74 out a little bit there on the TQs, but again, that's just kind of going like a little bit of 1-to-1 there on that trade. If this breaks through 111, we're going to be off of this. Not like resting on a short in today's market. Just trying it off of some of these wick high tops right off the open here for the Nasdaq. This is not like, okay, here it goes. I was going to say, well, maybe this is not going to be that trade that we really nail. We're just, well, we'd hope we did, but we're trying it. There it goes. So to the upside, we tried that short early, did not work. Let's just continue with, we only have longs written on here, so let's go back to what we're thinking about and try to find some value plays if anything's dipped at all.
Well, Oscar opened up finally, and no, there's no SSR bounce to say. You can see the second it opened up, this is why you always wait for a New York stock to actually give you the open. Okay, AMD just broke through. Early. I'll go back AMD, to Oscar in a quick little second. If that could be a failed break right away.
What did Apple do?
Yeah, I don't want this getting all the way to VWAP. If it loses the 43, VWAP is at 242. So I'll give it a little bit, but I'm not giving it back to 242. Like the moment that broke, I was looking at like down prints in like Tesla, down prints in Nvidia. So we need to hold back above second time. I might nibble the second time through, but that was a pretty hefty sell, at least initially. And with Nvidia kind of coming back in here, oh, okay, well, it's going to go anyways. Well, okay, never mind. It's trying to go anyways. I was just saying, like, Nvidia is heading back to the volume weighted average price, and this one's actually trying to go. So we'll try to dip by in front of VWAP if we can, but this is breaking, like, Nvidia's breaking lower, which always gives me a little bit of pause for concern when you're in a different chip name. So eyeballs on this if it can hold on to VWAP. And Oscar, shoot, of course, I knew that was going to happen. I knew the second I looked away from Oscar, it would put in a massive bottoming tail kick. Like, this just jumped up. I looked over, it jumped up like 25 pennies on a $15 stock in essentially one shot. So I'm hoping I didn't miss this SSR bounce here in Oscar. But they happen really quickly.
I'm going to try the short now on the futures. I might be wrong, but we have a nice little trade rate here as well. This is actually the one that we wrote down, SMR. So there goes SMR trying to go to the upside. We said we want to buy some 30s over here on this name. So that's what we did, man. We bought some. We're waiting at 30. Well, we should be waiting maybe at 30.40s there. We're waiting at 30.50s. It just got to 30.45 there for SMR. So let's just go into the 40s. There it is. Well, there it is. We get it. So a nice little move now for SMR. As again, we waited for $30 buy. It came in. We first took 30.25 small. We got a little bit more down there at 30, giving us our average price of $30.11. So a nice little take right there on SM. Okay, there goes SMR. Now we just got 50. So we finally get our 50 fill right there right now. Okay, we only went small into it, but I was thinking, like, I really want to play this futures on the way back, but it looks like the Nasdaq wants to continue higher here. So go SMR for now, as that's 50 cents. And, you know, the slow grind up in the futures, like I said, it's 936. Don't need to, like, get smoked onto this, but if we are going to look for some areas of the TQQs, maybe right into here, we're sort of thinking about a short, but I don't really want to play the momentum short if it's not there. And right now the momentum seems to be upside in this name. So we'll just give it maybe just a couple more breaths upside here. Trying to let like some of these 5-minute bars actually close, because right now it's 2 to the upside. Now we're waiting for a pullback. It doesn't look like it's happening just this yet here on the futures. So give it a little bit of a second and a breath, but right now, man, it's taking my breath away to the upside. So I'm going to put one more offer right now and then see if it can get going through 23, maybe get stopped at 1140, something like that. But for right now, this is what the futures are doing upside.
Well, that's so weird, because at the same moment you said that, AMD lost VWAP. I just got filled at 44, so it was breaking back out, and I actually reloaded on the way back in, which probably was a mistake because that'll turn me red on it. I want it holding VWAP, but it blew all the way down to 241.5 or so on AMD. So tried to break out, got to 44. It's still up 4%. So let's see if we can't buy another dip in here. Tesla lost a bit in a big way. You know what? It's frustrating on Oscar, but Oscar at the open is not as liquid as I thought it was going to be. But I might have missed the shot there on Oscar. I was trying to pick it up at 15.25, and now it just broke through 15.5. And when it broke back through, because I'm fighting a sneeze, when it broke back through, I did not get filled. I'm still sitting at 58. 1558, trying to get picked up here and play back into VWAP. So a lot of the healthcare names got beaten up today. This one was SSR and at a big support level on the daily chart. Don't know if we're going to be able to get back into that one. Also has to be very patient here. I said wait for silver. I think it's 44.8 was the number I told you guys, prior highs. It's still trending down. So market's going up. This is still trending back in. So unless it breaks trend or gives me that 44.8, just going to have to wait on silver. And Tesla, one more before I throw back.
Yeah, take your time. Tesla
is outside chance at that 420, immediate fail break at the open and heading lower. So while the market is going higher, Tesla and a few other names. I mean, gold I'm assuming, because I see silver going down. That's looking relatively weak. Nvidia is underneath the volume weighted average price. AMD struggling with it so far as we speak. So it's a bit of a choppy start to the day is what I would say.
Yeah, I'm going to just restart my e-signal a little bit, make sure we get the right signals here. Okay, so I've just been getting some more out here. I just got a couple outs there at 30.30 right here for SMR. It's, you know, the market's rallying, and this name actually fell back in. So, you know, not too in love with some of the action here. on Sam Michael Roberts here with SMR. So I'm going to have to hold off on that one just a little bit right now as well. We're getting very, very close to, again, like going 0 for 2, I guess, here on the Nasdaq. Just, you know, probably shouldn't have. The reason why we got short again is we saw that big buy imbalance. There it is, right off the open. So we were like, let's try to take something short. But the market right now does not want to be short. It wants to be long. So we should just flip over into something. But look at NVIDIA. Like, this is why I'm trying to catch this market short.
NVIDIA's weak.
NVIDIA's pretty weak. We saw Apple was pretty strong. SoFi back up through $30 now. So we had that play right, but didn't have the right level on that one. We talked about Robinhood earlier.
It's the same thing, but Robinhood there was no dip buy.
Yeah, there wasn't much dip buy either. There wasn't much dip buy either in
SoFi.
That kept going, and then it would look like it was Apple, is the name that I guess is trying to rally this market. Yeah, Jay Lee. I only looked at SoFi at TQ's long, but longer, much lower levels. So that's why I was like, yeah, maybe the short is here somewhere. But yeah, man, it's still ripping up here on this Nasdaq. So basically, the bigger trades I put on have just been Nasdaq so far, and they've both been wrong trying to catch a short. So I don't really see an area now as we zoom back out here where we may want to short the Nasdaq. You know, I mean, the TQs is 114, 115 are those tops, and now we're kind of just in the middle right now. So I'd like to play an exhaustion move here, but the market just keeps on going higher, so potentially no play in the short now. SMR just came right back into 30 again, so we reloaded that, but we're only going to give this one to 29.75. So if SMR is going to be weak, then it looks like this name's also going to give it up as the market continues long. So we don't have the right names here in my book today.
You got to be long OpenDoor.
Okay, well, there it goes.
Was up 11%. Alphabet.
Palantir, maybe? I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. OpenDoor was up 11%, now starting to pull back. Alphabet, relatively strong as well. Microsoft looking pretty decent. But I'm looking over, got to go back to the well, because when I got stopped out in the prior high on AMD, it's now testing right back into those highs. So it's looking relatively strong, at least compared to, NVIDIA's starting to creep up a little bit here, but this is going to close. I think it's going to close the 15-minute bar. Whoops, there you go. It's going to close this first 15-minute bar holding on to that 243 area from Thursday's high. So that'll be a pretty big key to try to get in. Oscar's trying to double bottom, but I feel like that SSR bounce, like that initial bounce to VWAP, it probably happened right away at the open. I might take a shot at a double bottom here on Oscar, but I think I missed a trade the first time through. So Oscar down 13 points. I think there's a chance that this can still get to VWAP one more time. We're going to have to be really, really quick on it. And then still patience when it comes to silver. This is not one with the market blasting higher and this slowly trending down. I've seen this story before where the biggest move is after like a long morning consolidation or after something parabolic. So I want to wait for our opportunity to push into it. And then one of yours is one of the strongest names this morning, and that's Palantir. 6% up, and on a 3-minute, this one looks like it's leading the way for the market here. So strength now coming into NVIDIA. Well, now it goes. Now NVIDIA is starting to go. AMD might not give us that chance at a pullback if NVIDIA does this.
Yeah, Palantir is really strong. Okay. Just looking here, SMR just kept on bouncing off of $30.10. We're long at $30.02. But I don't know, this name again, as the market keeps going, we just got faded twice right there. So now I have an offer there, but now we got to get all the way back up. Looks like the short's going to win here on SMR. But let's talk about something else. Quickly, AMD continues to go, man. Google, like, talk about buying the best companies and don't even worry about it. I mean, there goes Google up again, another 3%. So Google's rocking now up to 288 and looks like it wants to continue with its expansion higher there. So yeah, almost back to all-time highs goes Google. Tesla fading off that open push right back into 434. So again, kind of not much. We looked at Tesla earlier today. These are kind of the levels that we had looked at, but a nice dip in. Maybe we now find a little bit of a bottom there in the market. The Nasdaq having a little bit of a problem now, but not much of one, I don't think. You just mentioned Nvidia, maybe starting to go, nah, not really. AMD is the one that busted higher so far there. I still want to think about a short in this Nasdaq. This 1160, area might be something. So let's give it a little bit of a shot here at 45s and give it to that top again. I am chasing obviously this short, but I just keep on just making little small cuts here, but they're adding up. We just don't want to get, again, like at some point I feel this market falls back in right now. I'm not, maybe it's wrong. Like Nasdaq being up 2% here, I just feel like there's a fade at some point here. It just doesn't look like it's right now. UK Finance Minister, I don't know if we have anything going on right now as far as Fed speak, but Fed's Muslim maybe speaking.
It was really, really quiet.
Yeah, it was really light on the economic front and everything here today.
Light.
But look, this just keeps on going against me here. We're not trading huge amount of shares, trying to find a top. But, you know, it's like a needle in a haystack here today. There's only real upside now. So that to me just thinks that there's some exhaustion about to happen. But, you know, trying to predict a top when it doesn't show it to you is very, very tough. So we just keep on taking things out. That might have been something a little wick up to 172. But other than that, 111.72, other than that, let's just sit in here and see if this one can work out for us. You know, averaging in has not been working out. Other than that, like, I don't know if there's anything going on in China names, but I know I want to buy Alibaba if it gets a little low, and there's a nice dip down for Alibaba right now as well. So that could be a trade there. But Tesla, AMD, you're in that Oscar, which is moving around. UNH did have, you know, again, there was sort of some of that healthcare talk today. That's battling back. So maybe Oscar is about.
What's crazy is all the president did was post or truth a chart showing, like, since the Obamacare, well, ACA, I should say ACA.
Yeah.
Since the ACA, like, the healthcare stocks gains. That's it. It was like 100, it was like 1,100% on UNH or whatever, which is all ridiculous numbers. So basically, I think he was calling the implication is that they shouldn't be that valuable, I suppose. So to me, I'm looking at that as a buy opportunity. But the first shot on Oscar off of that 15 area, it did get to VWAP. The second one, it did wick the bottom, closed, opened the next candle above, so I added to the long there, but then gave it to the bottom wick. It just doesn't want to go. So if I miss the first SSR bounce, then I'm going to jump over to something which is strong, and that's OpenDoor. It's above $7. It broke out to $7. Maybe you get VWAP, but if this can just hold on to trend, I think anything above 7, when you realize that this has a couple of gaps to try to fill, the gap to 7.5, and then if it breaks 7.5, there's 1 to 8, and then I guess there's even another one above there. So there's still some room for it to get to that 750 zone on the next dip, and then potential rip. OpenDoor, this is really just about the fact that it's SSR and bouncing after earnings. Let's go to Adara.
Starting to see comments coming in here from Fed's Muslim. He's saying that he's looking forward to seeing official data because, of course, as he says, more data is better than less data. But he did say that inflation to him feels closer to 3% than the FOMC target of 2%. So again, we have some comments coming from Fed's Muslim saying inflation is a little bit hotter than maybe they would like. But he did say that labor market is around full employment and that it's actually been cooling. Again, comments coming here from Fed's Muslim. We'll keep you posted. Back to you.
Okay, but he fumbled it.
Thank you very much.
I didn't see any Bills highlights.
No, but Josh Allen, look, it is what it is.
Well, they go. Yeah,
all you have to do is go down.
With him. Yeah.
He push, and then he just keeps on going for like 15 more yards. They stand him up, and there was a fumble. And that was basically.
He should have blown the whistle, maybe.
No, but he should have gone down. Yeah, when you're being stood up like that, everyone's trying to strip the ball, man. I love Josh Allen, but sometimes his Superman antics, which is fine. You win by it, you lose by it. It's better.
I mean, the Dolphins are just a better team than the Bills, you know. No. Oh, man, I can't believe the Bills. I hope that they don't.
You know, we did try to trade for Waddle, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was he. There we go.
The Bills.
I just think it's the defense. I like their offense is going to score points.
I think we can't stop the run.
Yeah. Tonight's game should be a good game. Yeah, I'm excited for tonight's game. Oh no, I'm not. Not ready yet. There, Andre. But all right. So
on Golden's yards.
Right now we are. I don't even know if they're playing. I don't know. I don't like. Jordan Love's not it right now. I think it's going to be a big Josh Jacobs game. Possibly tonight. So, okay, just wait 1 second here, Andre, as we get this all loaded up here to talk about Beta Pro. So let's go with it. If you scan that QR code right there, there is some exciting news because Global X here in Canada has launched 3 new, well, they're not new now, you guys have known a lot about this, but triple levered ETFs, including 3 times bull and 3 times bear exposure to the S&P and the TSX 60 semiconductors and, of course, U.S. Treasuries. They are also offering, by the way, I got to get some out here as the futures are falling, they're also offering a fee rebate here to just 65 basis points until December 31st. So make sure you go check them out again. It's Beta Pro. Scan that QR code there. If you are a sophisticated trader and looking for some exposure to U.S. names without that currency, get their hedging program there. Global X, Beta Pro. We want to thank them for their continued sponsorship. And as we were doing that, the market did drop down and we were able to get out of some of our TQQ position there in the 40s and the 30s. We got, I think, a 35 or a 38 there and a 41. So basically the same kind of values there, getting out as we do approach that 21 period moving average. So we'll go 0 for 2 and then 1 for, but we still have 80% of the trade on. So this is still something that we need to let it work. And I'm trying to let this thing work back down into 111 or so. I'm actually here at 111.21, which is where this 21 period was, but now it's coming back in just a little bit. Let's see if it fades. Just looking for some more news here. Fed's Muslim, I just saw it now saying the U.S. economy is pretty resilient. The labor market is around full employment, so that's interesting to hear. Inflation potentially closer to 3% than to 2% target. So maybe that's what sent this market down a little bit. We don't want to see a big inflation print. And especially now that we are hopefully getting this government back in, we can get some more numbers. And if those numbers are not what we expect, then we do look, okay, here we go. Then we do look for a little lower expectations here. And here it comes right back in the futures. Big trade alert, but we've already gone 0 for 2, so looking to make this one sing a little bit more.
Yeah, have it sing. But you know what never got to the upside is SMCI. Always forget about the it's a you-know-what till it's not. That stock just continues to be I don't know what, I was going to say a joke, but continue to be relatively weak compared to some of the chip news. I was looking over at some of the chips, and I might have missed something in Intel, but I'll get to that in a second. At this point in the day, if there's obvious strength, relative strength or weakness, then you got to respect it. This might be up 2.5%, but the market was breaking out. This is only breaking down. First available pop, I'm shorting this name. I did get into OpenDoor on a bit of a dip. It didn't get to the volume weighted average price, so there's still a little bit of a ways for it to maybe 10 cents lower if it gets down into that 7.10 to 7.15 area. I have the quarters right now, we're just underneath it. Bit of a bull flag on open. Technical breakout is, I suppose, the name of the game here. So first available pop on SMCI, and I want to fade this one. It's done this before, where regardless of what the market is doing, it just trends down for the entirety of the morning and gives you ample opportunity to get in. Was not free locates. We had to pay 1/4 of not even that, 3 cents for 100 shares.
Yeah,
I was about to say it's 1/4 of a cent. It's not. It's like
sometimes it's short of us.
It's actually 1/4 of, no, it's even less than that. Okay. Ridiculous. It should just be free.
Yeah, we're now at a 40% of this TQQ trade because it did come into our prices. I was telling you we were sitting at 11111, so we actually wound up getting that price. So that was a nice move back in there for the Nasdaq. And again, just catching a quick 50 cents on that, but trying to hold out in case, you know, that maybe that was the top there for today. And let's just give it a second. I'd like to see it come back into VWAP. So this is where I am sitting at I'm sitting with now it's going to be about 20% of an out at 111 flat. So right into here, right where VWAP is. So if we can get a trade on the futures, that's something that we're looking at. I'm looking at right there. Anyways, Palantir go boom, man. I mean, that went all the way to 190. Like that was a huge breakout level. Palantir's now up 7%. Like this was probably the dip buy that we were all looking for. This went down to 170, low 170s on Friday, now 190, and we know that this name can run, especially, you know, if the futures get going, as it's very well tied to the Nasdaq and to the whole sort of government reopening theme, whatnot there. Okay, now I'm going to take another fill here, honestly, at 15. So we just take another one on the TQs because this is that level. But like I had said, we are still waiting for a significant part here at 111. So we'll wait for that. Let's just go have a quick check on what gold's doing. We talked about that a little earlier as well. Not doing too much. It's fading out, but bouncing off that 200 period moving average. So gold's still up 2%. I know you were looking at silver.
Silver's back to holding VWAP. It's close. It broke the downward trend on silver. SMCI refusing to pop here. It's kind of frustrating. But silver's trying to close and hold VWAP and break it out. If I don't get 44.8, which it never even came all that close to, then I'll play something off the volume weighted average price. Okay, SMCI is trying to go a little bit higher here. I'm sitting at 41.25. Might nibble if it gets closer to the 41 level. I just missed that super chat there, Andre. If you had that one up there, my head was looking at the charts. Kentish. What up, fellas? In Brampton for a couple of days, visiting the fam. What's some good spots to check out to eat? Always love visiting the Six. Well, my favorite restaurant in Brampton is gone now, unfortunately. It was La Caponina, but they closed it, unfortunately. So, like, you know what? I don't eat out in Brampton as much as I used to. I couldn't even give you a good recommendation. It depends on what type of food you're trying to eat. DM me and I'll give you some answers, because I have to actually think about it.
Yeah, okay, I haven't been to Brampton in a minute, so.
CRM.
Yeah, and it's not, Brampton is, yeah, I guess kind of like the Six there, a little outskirt there.
Can you tell me about CRM? Seems bull, but so choppy.
Okay, so Salesforce, I mean, they were the ones that really should have been one of the bigger winners of this whole AI race, because they had Agentforce AI, and they've been talking about, you know, forever. This is their whole model, is, you know, taking data, reworking it, giving you everything you need, customer relations management, right? CRM. So it had a huge move over the last little while, and I like where these levels are, but why, you know, Agentforce is not a new story. I guess it's just not being well adopted. I'm thinking that just with the way AI is now, I'm wondering, like, does Copilot, is there some other solutions here where Salesforce's product is, I don't want to say slowly becoming obsolete, but I think it's expensive maybe for what it is, and without knowing too much other than it's just on the chart-wise not working when it should be, that's a disappointment. So I don't really want to get into Salesforce right now, but these levels are pretty awesome. It goes all the way back to May here. This is May, April, May, February. Yeah, so basically of last year, where we're right back into the tariff lows. There's not too many names that are there. I think it's never great betting on losing stocks, and right now this is a losing stock. So I would say hold off on CRM. Yeah, you know, we're through earnings, and it's not winning. Has not been reacting properly. I don't know. There's a lot of great companies out there, and just Salesforce can't seem to get out of its own way. Now, I don't know what the PE is of this name. I think if it does get beat up enough, maybe there's some value here for Salesforce or CRM. It's a good thing we got out of some of that futures as it came back down, because now we're starting to go back up. Yeah, so its forward PE is only 18. Like, it's current PE 34. You know, not crazy on the valuation side of things. So I think you're right, but looking into it. But Salesforce continues to get hit there. Can't say I recommend it. Just doesn't look very healthy. More work needed to figure out what's going on with Salesforce.
Like, outside of that support, what do you have going for it? Oh, my poppy keeps falling off. It's hilarious. I'll get that in a second. I did pick up silver finally, as it did hold on to VWAP. It's now breaking that consolidation a little bit higher. So there's this, and there is gold, and I just typed in, really? Muscle memory is unbelievable. If I start typing G, like, it doesn't even matter that I just said gold. Like, I just typed Google. You guys all saw me do it live. The brain just kind of works that way. No, GLD is gold's trying to hold VWAP. Silver just a little bit stronger. It just moves more. So it tends to have like a little bit, if we're going upside in gold, and I think silver gives you a better % return, so I like SLV. And try to add to this in VWAP, at VWAP, and see if we can play into the pre-market highs. And then I'm reminding myself that some of my keys are different on the Amex. So instead of offering out, I almost sort of stop order in. So I'm going to try to buy more at VWAP, see if we can't get to the high of the day. AMD is now no longer, this is a frustrating one for me, because I might have made the worst wick possible. It did, when I got out, it did go like another $1 lower, but there was never a chance to get back in at VWAP. AMD is on an absolute tear, up 5%, not the only one, because Micron is up 7%. The chips are having their morning. That much is for sure. Open's kind of doing the same thing as before, and I'm very close to getting this SMCI short. So yeah, SMCI is weak in putting in lower highs, but remember, the chips are going higher. This one's just more of a relative weakness type play.
Yeah, Nvidia is one of the ones that's not going, but it's finally starting to go a little bit here. So there goes the TQs right back up to the upside. So those were some good outs, man, down there. We just took another one when it fell back in, and we were like, well, we're waiting for O2s. That didn't come through, so we did take another 15. But it looks like we're about to get stopped out here near the highs one more time. I'm giving it a little bit of a runway here,
going crazy.
maybe up to 11. Let's put it to like 1191 or so 111.91. Just I want to give it a little bit of breath above its highs just in case we get there and run a little bit. It's only going to be 10 cents. So it's, whoopsies, it's literally nothing, 111.91. We've done good getting some out, and I think it'll be, it's never worth a hit. Like, you should always get them all out down there, but at least we were able to do, okay, here it goes, man. So I think now this market, now that we've tested back, we basically bounced off VWAP pretty clean there. So now we got to flip up our sort of our cap here and say, we just have to look for longs. We just bounced off VWAP right now, so we got to find, there it goes, it's going to come out. Okay, I was gonna say it came out, okay, it came out before we broke 90s there, but 91s. And remember, like, it'll trigger out on any sort of a print. So if we do get something on the dark pool or something like that, it gets triggered out. But there it goes upside. We made money on our last short there, but it was the reload there that will wind up getting stopped out of that last little piece. So if it is a chip kind of a day, you know, Nvidia just bottomed out there. I just wasn't convinced on the long, but what a good long that was at 194, and now trying to break out through the top. So if this sort of gets kind of like meme crazy a little bit there, then maybe it is time to start to go back up to the upside now with Nvidia. So back into 194. Oscar's trying to bounce off 115 right now. So oopsies, or sorry, 115 as that's thinking about it, down quite a lot. SSR already happening there. Maybe we get an SSR bounce in and around 15. It looks like 15 flat or so is that level. All right, let's go back over to Adair as the Qs come right back in, of course.
Yeah, we had quite the recovery on Friday, and today gapping up, and two green 15-minute candles so far for the day for that Nasdaq. We did have commentary coming from Fed's Muslim. He just finished his remarks a couple of minutes ago, and we're not getting any more Fed speakers that I'm seeing on the calendar later today. Though U.S. President Donald Trump is set to meet with the president of Syria at 11 a.m. So I'll cover that for you guys in case anything market moving is happening. Now, speaking of politics, we know one of the things we're watching is the potential end of the shutdown. Well, we have a reporter from Punchbowl on X suggesting that a top Democrat here from the Ways and Means Committee saying that they are not for the Senate's new deal to end the shutdown. So looks like the shutdown could continue a bit longer. Of course, I'll keep you guys posted with any updates. NVDA, speaking of long, nice upside push here, gapping up and holding relatively strong today as we have CEO Jensen Huang indicate there's still a lot of demand for the company's AI chips. Now I want to talk here about another Make 7 named TSLA. Tesla on watch for a couple different reasons. Still having some struggling China sales, but we also have news that the company's Cybertruck leader actually leaving the company. And speaking of TSLA, we know we had that pay package for CEO Elon Musk approved last week. Now Rivian CEO RJ Scaron set to get his own pay package, which much like the deal with Musk is going to be tied to performance. Before we send you back to Sean and Neil, we'll take a moment to thank our friends at Origenics, because each year 3.8 million concussions are reported in the U.S., but there is still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE-listed Origenics, or OGEN, is changing that with its first in-class intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access. With the concussion treatment market projected to reach $8.9 billion by 2027, Origenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more and schedule a meeting today. Make sure to like and make sure to subscribe as we send you back to the guys.
Oh, I did it, and then again.
Nvidia, well, sorry, not Nvidia. Tesla is just ramping back up to the highs. Looks like that one's going to break out. I'm reminded of one thing that we didn't do this morning. I do this every single day, and we haven't even looked at the visualizer. And I'm guilty, and thank you guys for calling me out. This morning when I was talking about silver, I typed in the chat SLV, and I didn't use the dollar sign. So that was on me because it didn't show up. But right now it's Palantir and OpenDoor, and if you want to contribute by letting us know what symbols are hot or you're interested in, type $ and the ticker, hop into the chat. You need to be a subscriber, so make sure you subscribe first, like and subscribe. But these two are, it's not even close. It's Palantir and OpenDoor, and then you get Meta, Robinhood, SoFi, MU, GLTO, Netflix. Move is on the move, apparently. 144% to the upside move. That could be my chance to see the new halt bands, this stock.
Oh, yeah, that halt bands.
Yeah, this is going to be, I have to have this one up on the level 2 because we have the halt bands. It's a new feature here on P Pro. So I want to take a shot to look at this. It's already halted like multiple times. I'm not going to bother counting. So that's why people are interested. By the way, this is halted down with a tap of 1120. So it looks like it might be on the back end. Unfortunately, just to recap a couple of things, silver bouncing off VWAP. I have yet to take any profit. I haven't gotten the fills on the dip back into VWAP either. SMCI did come into the volume weighted average price. We shorted it. I'll give it to the quarters. But if the market's going to roll over, this thing, you know, it didn't break the highs and is making lower highs. So I want to play this for what it's been doing recently, which is, you know, essentially pop and fade almost every single day. So relative weakness here in that name. OpenDoor is still more or less in the same range. It's holding 7. Just wanted to quickly look. I want to look at this on SMCI for a target at the bottom. Yeah, we should be trying to get to $40 really and almost fill in the gap. So 40 quarter is the target there. Always, when in doubt, zoom out. I just realized I hadn't done that on the short. Silver is still trending to the upside. And OpenDoor, it's above 7. It was just able to hold the dip, holding on to 7. So in this consolidation, I'm looking to be long in between 7 and 7 quarter, and then adding on dips for the play into 750. I think that's kind of an obvious area for this to get. It's kind of chilling out here in the quarter range. Want to see this 15-minute close green, and I'm already on the dip, and then probably add to it. But OpenDoor up 11%. No real catalyst here. It was just SSR on Friday, and then continuation today after earnings.
Okay. I mean, is there some individual news about Palantir? I mean, maybe not. I mean, I guess we talked about it earlier.
Government contract thing? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Just the government, you know, potentially reopening soon, I guess, is good for more government contracts. I mean, I don't know. But Palantir now up 7 and a bit. And I almost wrote on the sticky note today, Palantir like 190 area to look out for. I just didn't really think we would get there, to be honest with you. But now you're at to 190, and you know, maybe if you're looking for some kind of a short if the market peels back, because I've just been shorting the market, which hasn't worked. This name, and again, to fight the trend in unique trading group, man, I really appreciate what you're mentioning there, because yeah, you know, fighting the trend here, not necessarily something that's been pay dirt here by any stretch of the imagination, especially over the last couple weeks. I'm kind of waiting for someone to come out and be like, you know what, this government shutdown is not as close as we thought to be ended. And that's kind of what but you know, that's just waiting for something to happen like that. We're not getting anything to issue that kind of a warning or anything. IBIT though right now is kind of firing off a little bit now today. Like we came in, it was at 106.5. You know, now it's at 105 flat. This is what Bitcoin looks like today. It's been pretty, you know, well beat up to the downside. I mean, you're not down huge, but we were up, and we haven't really caught too much of a bid. But, you know, maybe looking at that 59.4 or so, it is the 50-period moving average. You know, on the 5-minute chart, there is like a little bit of a gapping level right there that we're looking to sort of fill again, and we might have just done that at $59. So yeah, looking for maybe a bounce back here in crypto off of 105 right now. So now you're back up already to 105.2 as that looks to bounce around just a little bit here as well. So I'm going to sit in this to see if it wants to work. SMR is now down to 29.50, so that could be a good little level there. Oscar, we talked about that at 15. And then before I go to Adara, just quickly a little look here on Robinhood as, yeah, again, oops. Come on, chart for Robinhood. Yeah, so nice move up to 139, then right back into 135 change. So let's give this a shot right now on Robinhood to see if we can hold in and around that 135 days low right now for Robinhood coming through. What's up, Adara?
I do have one story here, Sean, that's potentially tangentially related to Palantir. So Surf Air Mobility announced a $100 million strategic financing. Well, now, why would this be related to PLTR? Because apparently, as a result of this deal, Palantir is going to be receiving $6 million in common stock from Surf Air Mobility, or SRFM, as prepayment for software and services as part of this deal. So PLTR, due to a tie-up here with SRFM, that could potentially have something to do here. I do want to talk about the shutdown as well, because I know, Sean, you were mentioning potential shutdown talks. As I mentioned earlier, there's a report here from Punchbowl News on X suggesting that one of the Democrats, who's the leader of or I guess one of the heads of the Ways and Means Committee, suggesting that they are not a fan of this deal to end the shutdown. But then we have U.S. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson saying that apparently the nightmare is near over with regards to the shutdown. So conflicting shutdown talks still here from both sides of the aisle as we await a potential end to the U.S. government shutdown. Back to you.
I was more positive than negative on that shutdown news.
Yeah, but the House is always tricky. So, yeah, it's not the end of open. It did do an over-under at 750, broke 750, came back. I trailed out when it lost 750. That was the first kind of upside target. So I'm going to be out everything in front, looking for the next available dip as OpenDoor just continues to go. I know we got some super chats in here that we missed. So if we can throw that up, Arif, cheers to buying Palantir call at 169 last Friday. Thanks to your channel.
Great call.
Shout out to you. That's a big one for sure, as that's headed toward. Well, I mean, we can. It's not a jinx it to say it's headed toward potentially that 200.
No, I mean, it has a, yeah, no, it'll get there.
But before it gets there, I think you mentioned 191 resistance right here. And then it's literally a gap filled almost 200. And then if we have another super chat, Oscar Ruiz, good morning, guys. What's your opinion on Adobe? Uh-oh. I think Fabian likes Adobe. That's the positive thing I'm going to say about Adobe, because my opinion's not too great with them. Because it's been, like, this has just been kind of like CRM, right? Where just nothing about it has been working, and you've just been trend down forever. I can't remember the last time this was in an upward trend. Everyone tries to pick bottoms here. It's a triple bottom. That's nice. But if this doesn't get above the 200 period moving average, I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole. Like, if you're not working, you're not working. I know you like them. I
mean, it's a great tool. It's necessary. We rely on it here. A lot of people rely on it, but there's a lot of options also.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of, like, they're losing market share slowly. And I don't, who knows how long they'll last, but they're very innovative, but very expensive. Mm-hmm. Like, enough where if you're alone, it's not really worth it. You have to find the free options.
There you go. You just heard it from the horse's mouth. They use it all the time, but he's giving you all of the reasons why they're a little bit weak. He doesn't pay for it. There's a big difference sometimes between like a quality going concern that's going to be able to generate revenues, and they're not going anywhere, but they're also not going anywhere when it comes to growth. Think of how long Intel was in that fashion before people start seeing a little bit of a light at the tunnel for them to be able to turn it around. This is still trying to make some kind of a bottoming pattern. That's the best I can do for you there. So kind of let it do that. Ooh, when you're short, you got to try to get that scalp profit. And we just closed another candle underneath VWAP without hitting me on the bid on SMCI. Still looking somewhat weak, but it's going to have to start filling some of these bids before heading back down. Nasdaq looking good. It's about the only chip name that looks weak to me right now is SMCI, so shout out to you guys for mentioning that in the chat. And even TPS reports saying Adobe is expensive.
Yeah, apparently they want the House to be opened ASAP here to get that vote going. So it looks like they probably will come up with a settlement, which is great right there for the market. And so that means that we are very now close to finally stopping out as this name just continues. We haven't been able to get anything out of this last little effort here, but I was hoping that some of that talk was going to be the other way around, that they weren't super close and that we would have a monster move to the backside here for the futures. But that's just, it looks like, as I was saying, as Adair was reporting it, we just heard in our ear there that it's, looking like they want to make a vote. So I think if they're that confident to vote on both sides there, then maybe something will come through. So it's just a matter of floating around now. I think something does, I don't know. Look, it's the government. I don't know if something gets done or not, but it's not looking very healthy right now for that long or for the short here in the TQs. And should have just been a long. We saw all those bids earlier, and that's what sort of switched me, because I was like, okay, there's a bunch of bids. It should eventually give it up, but we didn't really ever have a dip. We did take a little bit of advantage of that first. I guess that was the only dip that happened there around 940, but here we go, extension through. I'm just using 112 as our route because the market just wants to break through. We should have reverted into the long, so now we'll wait and be patient and grab that long on any dips, because right now, there it goes. Okay, well, apparently I got stopped out there. I don't know if it broke O's or O1s. That's sometimes the problem there when we play those dark pools. It looks like it maybe didn't break, but at the end of the day, it's, okay, well, okay.
SanDisk is.
I don't know if that broke or not, but it looks like we did obviously get out of our position there on a 112 break, so that kind of sucks. But either way, here it goes. Nice upside play there for the TQs. Looks like it does break that level, and well, I don't think it did, but we got out for some reason there, and just didn't want to hold it for much longer. And of course, there it goes. There's the retracement back in, but.
Oh, Intel was such a.
Yeah, so that one fell down. I don't know.
Like, you've got to be kidding me. I remember.
Why is this now going?
But 20 minutes ago, I was like, I think I missed something on Intel, which was this. No, it was just a trend break. And it was a little bit late because you had to be on this one when it broke trend and now heading to its lows. If a stock is at the low of the day when the market's testing high of the day, it is relatively weak. And so I went over to SMCI, which is also relatively weak, but it's not at the low of the day. That's the only reason I'll be a little upset. Like the Intel was just a better short because it gave you a failed breakout on a Monday morning. So I got half out on the way to the low. I'll get another leg out and then look to reload VWAP on SMCI, so to play that game to the downside. But I just looked over SNDK, SanDisk, whoops, that's Blue Ocean. SanDisk is up 10%.
What? Didn't we look at that before and was like, oh my God, this is a huge stock?
This is, okay, look, I get it. Congratulations, everyone's got this. This is looking a little bit ridiculous. Like, look at the daily on this and look at the continuation candles. I feel like it's got a little bit of a, there's going to be a monster short opportunity in probably this name. And when it happens, like Western Digital and then Micron to a lesser extent. But I don't know if I want to fight that today. Let's wait. The first day that it looks like the short is in, I'm going to be involved the day after that, or maybe in the afternoon on whatever morning that might be, the scaling on this chart. So I did get one fill on SLV there, and now trying to get back into VWAP if it can pull back. A little bit of a pullback happening. It's just a distinct trend after a little bit of a dip on gold and silver. Just want to hold this one to the highs, you know, pre-market highs, and buy the dip on the volume weighted average price. But SMCI, that's certainly looking weak for now. If I can get Intel as well, I'll probably try to short that. I just saw AMD turn. I just saw Tesla turn. So the market seeming like it's coming back in. Let's go to Adara.
Yeah, I just want to mention here, we have more commentary coming from U.S. Speaker of the House there, Mike Johnson, saying that he believes that they have enough votes to pass the stopgap, and apparently he's also telling House members to start making their return to Washington. So again, looks like U.S. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson is optimistic that we could see an end to the shutdown fairly shortly. Back to you.
So we could.
It's just crazy. We got stopped out there when I don't even think it broke. So we did get back in, and now we're making some back on the downside. But all we're making back is what we lost on that first trade, like basically washing. I don't think we broke it, but it doesn't matter. The stop was kind of a random spot anyways, up there to 112. So, you know, maybe instead of the logic, and I hate saying maybe and what ifs and all that kind of stuff, but now that, you know, maybe it's been resolved, maybe the pullback happens again and we can start talking about AI, you know, being in its last innings. No, it's not, that's not the truth. But we did see last week that some of the talk, and that's why a name like a Palantir and Nvidia, you know, bounced well off. I think Nvidia almost went down 10%, didn't it? From its all-time highs there of 212. We got into 178 there, yeah. So we were down more than $20 on Nvidia, down 10% last week. And now, obviously, as the market gets some momentum back into it, it can start to rally again. But, you know, if the House can finally come back in, it's 2% now, upside on the Nasdaq. Is there more to that? I mean, we've seen already sort of on the daily charts here for the Nasdaq. Excuse me, I just typed in 4 Qs. It's only 3 Qs. We're not too far away from all-time highs again. So let's see if earnings will once again carry the way here. And 85% of the S&P 500 that's reported already has beat. So if we can get through the government and then really think about that AI story maybe not being as, you know, bearish as maybe we had thought. I mean, the government, OpenAI came out and said, like, they were talking, I don't think it was misunderstood, but like bailout and this and that, potentially for some AI. And I don't think that that's necessary. But yet, anyways, we don't even have OpenAI public yet. We'll have to see how the market reacts to that. Oracle's been a name that's been really beat up in this space. Again, as people worried about some of these warehouses and data centers, and is there enough funding for all of this? Like Oracle can open up and borrow all this money to open up all these centers, and then relying really on deals they've made with OpenAI, and hopefully those are, you know, concrete, right? So that's been the fallback in for a name like an Oracle, but trying to catch some heat today, up 1.7% is Oracle. So there it goes. What's up, Lone Sophos there? All right, so Uber, we just heard now. I heard in our ear, I think it was, or I don't know if I saw the story there or whatever, but finally starting to deliver Shake Shack in Toronto. Like, okay. I don't know why that's a big deal, but that came across the Benzinga Newswire there. I was like, what's that story about Uber? Not much happening with, yeah, not much. Okay, good. Adair saw it. Not much happening right there with Uber today. If anything, looking like it wants to break through the bottom.
Who is it that
what they've made so far there, Uber. But
what was the name of the viewer that wanted Eli Lilly 1000? Was that LA Day Trader? Or was it somebody else?
Maybe.
If it was, okay, first of all, if it was not LA Day Trader, then my apologies. If it was, then tomorrow?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Or 2:30 today? 1,000 on Eli Lilly is almost seeming like a mortal lock at this point. It took some time because there was some chop up here. But Eli Lilly has broken through the top. And it just did so like a couple of minutes ago. Eli Lilly just broke through the 970. Oh, it's pulled back, got to 980, but looking very, very strong. So go Lilly, go. Hopefully, I don't remember. Again, we get a lot of super chats and a lot of talk there. I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I
believe it was Day Trader LA. I believe it was Day Trader LA.
I didn't say. Okay. Is that what we?
I said, what did I say? LA Day Trader. So you know what? That's as close as I'm gonna get. Adara doesn't forget these things, so she's always right. If it's something like that, she's always right and I'm always wrong. Just think of it that way. So if the market comes back in here, we got one more bid. Still trying to reload SMCI. It's volume weighted average price. That continues to go down. Intel continues to probably bleed. At the low of the day.
Yeah.
This is the one. Like when it breaks trend early, you have to be there when it's happening. The only good news for the silver long is it's still kind of slowly trending up above VWAP. And oh, by the way, for the Bitcoin bulls out there, well, this never participated in the up move this morning. IBIT. Nasty. Right as the market was breaking out. This was just all down. So throw that into the bucket of relative weakness.
Talked about that, yeah. It's that gap around 59 trying to fill. So
and it's not like look, ETH is underneath 35. Oh, sorry, check that. Just barely above 35. So all the BMNR lovers are probably not loving it this morning, as this is actually even weaker than Bitcoin. BMNR taking on the chin because, of course, ETH is not having a good morning. Let's go over to Adara for the small cap recap.
Let's talk about these small caps, starting with Movano. MOVE, or MOVE is the ticker for this one. MOVE announcing a merger agreement with Corvex. It is worth noting here for MOVE, we have a pretty small float. I was seeing around 610,000 shares, so sub-million share float. Certainly of note here for MOVE. Then we have ASST, Asset Management, or Strive. This company, of course, Mike Alfred, who was also involved in OpenDoor, announced a position in ASST a couple weeks ago. With Strive, we do have a larger market cap. We're talking around $1 billion plus, but they did also announce here a Bitcoin purchase last week, or during a period ending last week, so good look there for ASST, trying to push higher. GLTO trading higher. Interesting catalyst here, acquiring Demora Therapeutics. So GLTO with a roughly 1.3 million share float, also to the upside today. Before we send you back to Sean and Neil, we will take a moment to thank our good friends at Trade the Pool. Because for too long, trading meant risking your own money or never having enough to start. The fear of losing. That's what kept so many traders on the sidelines, but that is changing because Trade the Pool is transforming how traders access the markets. With its limited risk trading model, traders use funded capital while Trade the Pool absorbs the downside, which allows traders to focus on what truly matters: discipline, consistency, and growth. So when you hit that profit target, you keep 70% of the profits. No fear, no barriers, just real opportunity. This is the revolution of limited risk trading powered by Trade the Pool. Visit Trade the Pool or scan the QR code, tradethepool.com, or scan the QR code now to get 10% off your first evaluation. Back to Sean and Neil. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe.
Thank you very much, Adara. So you're about to see OpenDoor. Potentially, it's losing that upward trend that it was on right now. So if it gets, break trend line, hold VWAP or hold 7, that could be the reload opportunity. 7 is underneath the volume weighted average price, but I believe that's kind of like the bullish spot for OpenDoor. This is your breakaway from the $7 area. That's why I kind of like $7 is a bit of an anchor instead of the volume weighted average price. So looking for another chance to get back into this one. But I had to listen to the market just now when it came to SMCI. The market came back into the top. Here, I'll show you. This is a Nasdaq. It came right, this is a 60-minute chart. But here, I'll show you, this is a better example here on a 15. There's our dip on the 15, holds on to this consolidation and then breaks back a little bit higher. So with that, I took another leg out on SMCI. And again, That was because of what the futures were doing, so I was trying to get that a little bit closer to the low of the day. But I'm going to hold through a low of the day break and reloaded VWAP. This one's trending down, so we want to respect it. OpenDoor, still waiting for that dip to maybe get all the way into VWAP again. Got to be patient with it. But patience is something that Palantir has none of today, as it wants 10% up. I feel like if this gets to 200 today, that's going to be... Like, if I see it 200 in the middle of the day, that's going to be a fade. And just, like, how could you not? If like an even $200 level.
Like 20% or something.
Well, that's... that's... Yeah, 200? Yeah.
200,
But you don't think
it
that's...
wouldn't be 20%. But
no, it's 12%?
From its bottom, yeah.
Yeah, we talking 12% or something like that? Either way.
Maybe, yeah, but it's like 20% from its bottom, because its bottom was 170 or so.
I know that's a pie in the sky thing, but look what it's already done. Like, if you don't think it could press into 20, that would be one heck of a mean reversion trade if I see it. So Palantir on the absolute warpath, unintended.
That's right. And I think Apple right here, back into VWAP is an interesting level as well. I mean, the market just made a run to highs again right now. And, you know, Apple had a very aggressive open, has really pulled back into VWAP, and these are levels where you want to. I mean, I'm short the market here, which looks like it's going to come back out again. We did really well take advantage of this move to the downside. We did get stopped out there, but made it back. We got a 38 fill right there on the way down in. Before this most recent, bump back up to the upside here. But it is looking like, if you haven't heard the news there, we are looking to see if this market can get back into, some of those highs based on, and I just closed my news story there, based on, okay, now we're short, based on, news out of Washington that they're possibly calling, the government back right now to see if we can, rearrange and get that going back up to the upside goes the market, as the government shutdown is now hopefully moments away from, resolving itself. And I think it's been obviously the longest shutdown in the history, and about time that we get this resolved. And we had that rumor, and we talked about it with Obi there on Friday when he was in, and just about possible follow-throughs and stuff like that. It was a very strong day closing on Friday that really rallied some of these markets. And now today, you're starting to see obviously another pull-through here of all of that, man. And all these dip buys seem to have been the right play. And you just hit a name like a Palantir. You talk about a name like SoFi, Robinhood. A lot of these names really starting to get back up to the upside one more time here. So yeah, these longs.
Hood's actually not that strong right now.
It's down on the day?
Yeah, I was about to point out just that. Like, for all of the strength that was there earlier in Robinhood, because I'm starting to reevaluate like how much I'm going to like the dip buy in a stock that's now trending down while the market's going higher. So there's something a little bit fishy about anything adjacent to the crypto space. And someone in the chat reminded me of this in the morning. There was that really big sell imbalance on BMNR at the end of the day. It got paired off ultimately, but it was there. And then all of a sudden, you're really starting to see the bleed. The bleed it's real in anything crypto related, and now some of the fintech names seem to be headed lower. If you're looking at anything like picks and shovels for data center stuff, like Caterpillar, GV, SMR, those are all looking relatively weak. Like, you've essentially got AMD, NVIDIA, the actual direct chip names, and the memory names, which are going ham, and Tesla, which is going crazy, and then Palantir. So it's not everything that's going in this market. I'm just sort of looking for the next trade that isn't OpenDoor or one of the two things I'm already in. Not finding anything I'm in love with. What's standing out is, Intel looks like it can be an obvious short. And then I was looking back over at Oscar and the off chance that I didn't time the SSR bounce right, in that it absolutely bounced off that low. I missed it the first time and then just tried to trade the same level the second time. It then bounced off 15. It could triple bottom here at 15, and that might present a trade up into the volume weighted average price down 15%. But I don't know if I want to fight this one trend down. So OpenDoor is seemingly like it's going to be the small capper, which gives us a chance. Just cannot get back to VWAP. I'm willing to be patient with it. Open, again, no story. Still would love to have Mr. Jackson.
Oh yeah, that's right.
On this show. He's got to be happy with this. I'm wondering if you loved OpenDoor, how could you not, like the $5 bounce? It consolidated all pre-market down, I think it was down 20% or something like that. and then opened up and the buying was huge. Like, look at the volume candle on this 15 right when it opened back up. It was just buy all the way to $6. So I don't know, if you're a whale and you weren't buying that, you must really not like it. That's all I can think. So much buy volume.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Like, that'd be the question we want to ask this guy. Like,
no,
what does he think? Does he know anybody else that's buying this? You know, has his sort of plan worked so far? What about that Better Homes, BETR?
That was the other one.
Is another one that he was looking at. I haven't looked at that in a minute. HUD 8 is another name that he was looking at as well.
Better's not doing anything, which is interesting.
Yeah, HUD 8's probably getting crushed. Okay, here goes. So as that was happening, we were getting more and more out of this market short because it's not right. But here's HUD 8. You know, I remember trading this one. I think we got long through 50 when that was first announced, and we got up to like 56, 57. Pulled back, obviously, on that crazy amount of weakness that we've seen in crypto near the end of October, and then a move back up to the high side again, and now back in as crypto feeling some kind of ways right now, is down to 105. We talked about maybe reloading something like that if we got that opportunity. Apple is now through VWAP down to the downside, so we were just getting more out of the futures. So yeah, hopefully it falls back in, but it looks like the market does want to stay up near the top here as we get ice cold right there. What's up, Joe? Yeah, he's got the toucan right there. Okay, now the market's starting to fall back in, which is kind of nice. So Apple's just still chilling here at VWAP. So I just wanted to show that again, to possibly to the downside for Apple.
Trump
could be a great. Really? How come I don't have anything in my ear?
The last administration wasted billions of dollars trying to fix antiquated junk. They had no idea what they were doing. Again, to our great American patriots, God bless you. I won't be able to send your money fast enough. To all others, report to work immediately. God bless America, President Donald Trump. Air traffic controllers must get back to work. Now, there's some other, I think it was mostly directed at air traffic controllers.
Okay.
Yeah.
That did give us a nice move to the downside. I think
there. That's what it was.
At least. We're capturing now on the futures. We just took some 85s. We're short at 95, man. Like, if we can just sort of do what we're doing and try to scalp out a little bit, we'd be pretty happy with this move. But what's up, Adara?
Just a little bit more here with regards to the air traffic control story. Trump also apparently saying that he's going to be offering a bonus of $10,000, it looks like, for air traffic controllers who didn't take time off. Again, air traffic control has been one of these sectors that's really been on watch here with regards to this government shutdown. Back to you.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so if you did it, so if you basically
if you worked during the
if you rolled with basically being furloughed or whatever, I guess, and did not take time off.
Can you do that?
Can Trump do that? Yeah, he can do that. He can do whatever he wants, apparently. I guess it's all going to have to get passed and approved. I don't know how you can just bonus people out, but it seems like that's what he wants to do. So
apparently he's recommending it. I mean, we can't have it yet, but at the very least, he's made it clear that that's what he would like to happen.
Okay.
He'd also like to have the Washington Commanders Stadium renamed Trump Stadium or something like that. So he really, really wants that as well. So we'll see if that winds up happening. Maybe they should just be the Washington. I don't know, I was trying to think of, I guess the Trumps wouldn't really.
Or maybe they could focus on not playing their quarterback in a blowout so that he can get hurt, especially when he has a play style that lets him get hurt. That's
I mean, it's always so good when you have Marcus Mariota.
No, but that's at least when I was watching the Bills game, like, they had the common sense to get Josh Allen out of the game at one point. It's like, okay, well, now this is out of hand. You're not coming back. Why would you risk injury? Sometimes you've got to move on to the next.
Yeah.
Whether that's in all phases of life. Like, this sunk cost fallacy, next trade, next opportunity, next week. Because I'm telling you, like, and Josh is the kind of guy that will get himself hurt in the fourth quarter because he doesn't have that other gear. If he's out there, he's going to try and make a play happen, and when you're no chance of winning the game. Like,
it's a little silly.
And the Washington quarterback is built like me. Seriously, like, he's not that big of an athlete. Like, he's going to take hits and he's going to get hurt. I'm really disappointed in this OpenDoor's inability to get back to VWAP for some kind of a trend. Look, it's staying on trend right. It's actually breaking the trend line, which is why I think it can get to VWAP or to that $7 entry game. It's just not happening. Tesla seems to want 450 for all of you out there. At this time of day, I'm starting to think, where is a trend break that I like, whether it's up or down? I'm not really sure Tesla's going to be the one. For me, silver looking okay, but not looking crazy. I looked back over at Nvidia. And that is again, look at the clean upward trend, almost 5% on this thing. It's just absolutely flying. And then, of course, Palantir. Like, Palantir, like, this is actually breaking this uptrend right now. And it's the biggest uptrend out there by a long shot. So this might be, like, this is why I have to. This is the one. It closes underneath this trend line.
Pizza just halted. Oh, no.
Oh, Pizza's, what happened, deal?
Well, rumor deal, but we didn't, I mean, we went to
Oh, you'd have to, yeah. No, it's too late.
Yeah, I heard $64, I think, in our ear. Yeah, 60. So Papa John's, here it is right here, close to a deal with Tri Artisan Capital. Here's the news right here. So there goes PZZA, Papa John's. We had heard about this before as well, but now whenever you get like a associated dollar value with it, it's probably closer to being real there. So ABC Money now reporting that this could be the next thing. So watch out for PZZA right there, back up to the upside. So wow, yeah, really 65 is quite an extension on where we've been. So good level there for PZZA. Possibly there it is. So I was just waiting for that to form out. So it looks like 60 was the top, but okay, well, where it came from though, we've been up here before. So we'll see if Papa John's and Shaquille O'Neal's like 30 franchisers or whatever he has there become worth a little bit more as yeah, Papa John's nicely moving there to the upside. We did take it more. Whoops, that's the TQs. We don't need that. We took another 77 fill down there on the TQQs.
Okay. Get it, Russell.
All right, what's up, Adara?
It's interesting, guys. I looked into this, and this is not a brand new deal. That's right. Over 2 hours ago, we first had reports of this exact same scenario. Again, suggesting that Papa John's is near a $65 per share private takeover deal with Tri-Artisan Capital. Now, Tri-Artisan Capital sounded familiar to me, so I looked into it, and this is the same group that's taking Denny's private. So again, Tri-Artisan Capital at it once again. Reportedly, it close to a $65 a share deal to take PZZA private. But again, these reports are a little bit older than might initially be, I guess, expected or gleaned here. Back to you.
Oh, wow.
So I'm just going to throw this out there, but you know, Sean and I should be coming after Tri-Artisan Capital for stealing our name.
Yeah.
When we had our own trading floor, our corporation was TriStar Trading, which I still thought, well, that was a pretty solid name.
Yeah, it was a good one. We were good back then.
It was three of us, so it's like that's.
Now we're taking over Papa John's. So how familiar that is. And we
like
talked about Papa John's with Domino's and all. We talked about that last week. So congratulations to Papa John's shareholders for sure. There today, it looks like that's gonna be close. But this is what the market looks like. Like, you know, this looks like a winning market to me right now with the Nasdaq up 2% or almost 2%. I mean, now it's getting up there. The ES, I was trying to see what they were up as well. ES up 1.1% as the market just ticks higher and through the day's high right now. It's a good thing that we're getting out. We've done fine on these reloads recently of the futures. We just should have been a little bit more patient with it and not got excited so early. But I think the market continues to float right now. Just hearing a lot of positive stuff in our ear right now about this fly. Tesla consumer durables up 3.7% as well. We already sort of reviewed that as Eli Lilly looking more and more like it has that $1,000 tick to it. Right now up 5% right there. J&J, AbbVie down from a good week last week as well. Amgen, Gilead had some news last week. Abbott Labs, J&J, Merck always being looked at as well. Novo Nordisk not on that list right now. But the technology services really starting to lead the way. We got that question about CRM. CRM, like there it is right there, down. You know, ADP as well. So maybe there's something about, you know, HR related names, ACN, Accenture downside there. So yeah, maybe CrowdStrike. I love CrowdStrike. How far is this? This name, I was hoping that was, how far has this name fallen? How about not far at all? The futures downside again and take another piece out. But yeah, 546 right there for CrowdStrike. I really like the secular bull market in, cybersecurity. I really like the way that that's looking. All right, so electronic technology. This is where you're going to see a lot of the pressure today. Micron up 8%, even Intel up 2% today. Wow on this too. Like 5% for $5 trillion company. Like this is, Neil said last week when Nvidia fell, I think it was maybe something similar, that it was one of the largest wipeouts on a day.
And the wipeout was larger than all but 15 companies in the S&P 500.
Right. So this gain today is probably a similar statistic because up 5% on a $5 trillion name, looking pretty good there. Retail is not great, man. I mean, we've seen Walmart hover around that 100, and it's still there right now. So, you know, possible pickups in Walmart necessary. This is all the way back to August levels. And even if you zoom this, put this all the way back, you're back to January, like the beginning of the year right now. Walmart is still up 10% on the year, but had been up nearly 20. So nice little pullback in Walmart. And then we hadn't shopped at, I mean, my wife's always at Costco. I haven't been in one in a minute, but Costco's still getting hit. And I mean, I don't know, man. My tune-in radio in the car now is trying to pump me Christmas carols all the time now. And Starbucks, okay, here we go. All the Christmas drinks are... Oh, I don't have my Stream Deck open. I haven't hit Stream Deck yet. That's hilarious. But right now it's coming to the downside right now. Let's get another piece out as... Stream Deck's still not working for me. That's okay. There it is, flushing down. That's good. All right, so now the market's starting to come back down just a little bit here. Let's take advantage of that recent dip and see if we can get a bid. What am I bidding? 68s. There it is. Nice clean move here. So there it is. That's what we want to do. Sirens up. Market finally falling back just a wee bit. We have about a third of this position left, and I don't want to bid until we get a lot lower. Let's see if we can actually win. I'm bidding VWAP right now, 1120 down here. What's up, Miss Adara?
Now let's talk here about these sectors. Before we get into the sectors, I do want to mention the airline sector once again. CNBC just now reporting that UAL, United Airlines, and Delta Airlines, DAL, are both offering flight attendants extra pay in order to pick up some flights. So again, more, I don't want to say turmoil, but more turbulence, we'll say, for these airlines as the U.S. government shutdown continues, though there have been some inklings of that ending fairly soon. Let's talk about these tech sectors, which are undoubtedly leading the market to the upside today. We've got electronic technology with some strength in, amongst others, MU, Broadcom, AMD, Nvidia, and Apple. Then you move on to tech services with Microsoft, Google, and Meta. All three Mag 7 names in this sector, really strong. But we also have strength in App11, PLTR, and Netflix. Now, if you move over to what's a little bit weaker, I think consumer non-durables certainly has some weakness, both PG and Coca-Cola lagging a little bit here. Energy minerals a little bit red to start the day. Health services really weak as U.S. President Donald Trump posts some not too positive posts about the sector over the weekend. Then we had retail trade with the exception of Amazon, a little bit weaker. Sean mentioned Costco red, but so is Walmart and Home Depot. And commercial services weak as well. So basically, if you are not electronic technology or Eli Lilly over there in the health sector, probably not a great day for your group. Back to you.
Yeah, the pent-up anger in some of these chip names. Lam is up 4% today. You just don't expect that out of, look, it's a great company. You just don't necessarily expect that. So I want to give the reason for exiting Palantir. Reminder, Palantir, look, Palantir's last week's resistance level was right around here, 191. So when I saw that immediately, they immediately just started buying it back. It broke the trend line, which looks something like this, and then immediately they're defending it at the buck. So I'm going to jump out of that trade. SMCI, I like for the short a little bit better. It's trend down, and as I was in that, I missed a chance for another lower high on SMCI, which not as clean of a trend line, but it's still putting in lower highs, and I can work off this 41 instead of the volume weighted average price. So that's what I'm going to try and do. Rather be in a weaker name than a stronger one. If Papa John's opens back up, we'll let you guys know. That's because
it's 10 minutes now.
Oh, shoot, it did just open.
Oh, did it? I was going to say, it's about 10 minutes.
Oh, okay, so it did open.
So we should keep it open. Maybe there will be some
I thought, weren't they saying 65?
Yes.
And it's trading all the way at 47? This must not be as close as everyone's saying. Why would it be
It says
trading?
Papa John close to 65 per share private takeover deal.
And it's only down here in the 40. Yeah, you know what? The market doesn't seem to believe this because it's already trading back into 45 here. I was thinking, oh, if it's at 65, this could be a 50 breakout. But clearly the market has other designs on whether 65 is imminently close here on Papa John's. That's weird.
Yeah, not seeming like that's a
all
done deal there. Oscar continues to go lower. I just saw. No, well, okay, well that was 5 minutes ago. We were at the lows and. Big violent kind of bounce back right there. If it, yeah, maybe I am interested to see. Let us know, Sharif. There's the halt bands are in the system today, so hopefully you'll be able to see them.
Well, I haven't seen it yet.
I only mentioned it, Sharif, because we haven't really even seen too many crazy runners here today. This is what you guys have voted for. Normally there's like odd names on here. I guess GLTO would have been one to look at, up 300% right there. But everything else makes kind of sense. Netflix getting ready for the split November the 18th. We should come in here, and that'll be 10-1 on Netflix, so about a $110 stock. Move the period over. And then SMR, Tesla, good day, man, up 3% and change. Robinhood finally getting going a little bit, up 4%. They had a little bit of a slow get going. So did Nvidia, up 4% as well, up 5%. Palantir really...
Oh, I see it.
Didn't slow down.
Okay. I saw it.
Neil saw it.
It's right there.
Where?
It's LULD.
Oh, it's listed on there.
It's moving so fast.
So you have to mark that as your axe.
Yeah. So
I thought it would automatically be marked.
No, you have to mark it yourself. So essentially, if you're at real trading,
like
I would right-click, go into my customization.
Then you got to do that for every stock.
And mark it as an axe. Every stock window.
I think do you have to mark that for every stock? I don't know, actually.
No, you can save it as default on
your level too. Okay, then it would work. So actually, that's pretty cool to do. The other one here, GLTO, was the one that I saw. So right now, we are getting a whoosh down right now. I'm bidding in the 30s, trying to get VWAP now as the market bleeding downside. We still have a decent spot on here for this. We talked about having a third of our trade, so far so good. As we make it back right now, I've only traded 2 names today, SMR and the futures. Okay, so TQ's downside. GLTO. Let me see this one name, because this is a 300% name today. GLTO. What is the name of this? GLTO, something like, Galactico. Okay. Bunch of halts, man. Halt. Looks like it halted a bunch of times there and could halt again.
That's where you want to see the band.
Yeah, there's limit up, limit down. Again, I don't have it marked, but we could do that. If you are with us, you could just go into here into Axe and add a new one, and then go into here, LULD. Is that all that it is?
Yep.
A limit,
that's all.
Up, limit, down. Okay, right there. And I'm going to mark it with like a pretty, I'm going to mark it with, I don't know, my level 2 has this color already in it. Yeah, already up there. So I'm going to try to find a color that I don't have, and we'll mark it with that, and we'll go over to Adara for now.
Yeah, I want to mention here more commentary from U.S. President Donald Trump. He's posting it again on Truth Social. He's talking about these $2,000 payments made to low and middle income U.S. citizens. And again, those payments would be made using tariffs. These were alluded to earlier this weekend, but he's now also saying that apparently leftover funds from these payments are going to be used to cut the national debt. So again, more comments here on the use of the tariff funds from U.S. President Donald Trump. Back to you.
All right, maybe the futures aren't going
as I'm just sort of thinking, like, the more I look at this, I should take my eyes off pieces today, because if the market was truly believing in this 65, there's nobody really on the bid. Like, it's trying to hold, but I just don't really see anybody on this bid, so I don't want to fight this. It's not going to make any sense. What did just happen? All right, so a bit of a wick bottom trying to break the low of the day here on SMCI. It's still up 2.5 points. I kind of thought it could get into that Friday high, but it just hasn't happened yet. Can't let this one hold the bottom without getting out and then try to re-engage back in. OpenDoor is still trending. It's just been no pullback into VWAP here. And maybe it doesn't. You know, VWAP's just a line on a chart. And OpenDoor is not respecting that line. I might try to play off of what now would be the initial dip trend and maybe just scalp that. So that'd be about 740 for now into the high of the day if we're not going to get the volume weighted average price. OpenDoor seems strong. You know, regardless, it's still SSR today, which I think helps out its case for showing a little bit of strength relative to the market or not. The market happens to be going up in this particular case. I'm going to try and get into this one on this new trend line up here. So we'll see. I mean, ultimately, this stock's up 15%, and it's a kind of a meme-ish stock. And it could end up just being a breakout of this high into $8, and I never get the dip buy in open.
Yeah, that dip buy, I mean, I still like the $7 level.
That $5 dip buy at the
open. I know, and it went way too far down. But look at DraftKings, wow. We left this one for dead, and it was $25. Now it's $31. So off their earnings, they got clubbed down to the downside right there. But you know what? Someone made a good point there, actually, in the chat. It was TPS reports there, if I can... Funny name, the TPS reports.
I bet you he has a red stapler.
Yeah, put those on my desk and we'll get right over those TPS reports. Where is it? Unfortunately, I don't even see it in this thing that we have going. So I'm just going to pull it down right here. And it was right into here. Oh, there it is here. Oh, no, it was about the 2K checks coming through. Yeah, $50 for eggs. Yeah. Actually, I don't, there it is. Nope, TPS. Anyways, he had mentioned that maybe DraftKings on some strength. But anyways, shout out to you, TPS Reports. You might be into something there. If we are getting some of these discounts now or these checks coming back in, people will do silly things with them, right? I mean, you know, they'll buy GameStop and AMC and whatnot, but maybe DraftKings is a beneficiary of that. You know, parlay that 2K into 10K. Yeah, that's just what happens.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll wait to see if that has any effect. But remember, DraftKings bounced before the weekend. They bounced nicely there on Friday, so I'm not sure what's up with that move because the whole market got crushed on Friday. DraftKings nicely taken back upside there after what was a bad report and not a great guide, but we still wait for Florida, Texas, and California to come on down. But you right now are the recipient of the jackpot on Price is Right, because there it is. Bang, right into VWAP. Taking cuts, man. The cuts hurt until they don't. And there it is, all the way to the downside, man. Stop the bleeding on my P&L as now the TQs comes right back in to the downside, looking to go green finally on the TQs. Just this was fine. We got out. That was a relatively small hit there. Getting stopped out here, I think probably might have been one of the bigger ones. Or maybe it was this one. Before realizing that that was kind of the top. Then we went back short there, made it back, and then, yeah, so it had to have been this sort of shutdown there or stop out that hurt because we average, and boom. So just trying to make some of it back. And again, it hurts because when we get stopped out, we're stopped out on, you know, like our position, especially if we don't have any outs. So then we take the outs on the way back in, only to reload it at that last stop. And here we come right back in. And the reason why I zoomed out a little bit there on the TQs is here's a 5-minute pretty clean chart from eSignal. There's a lot of room to come back in here. Looking at like 110.80 possibly as the sort of next level there. So let's wait to see. We've got a real big winner now, finally, on these futures. It just took a minute to get there. So good on you if you held it. And here it comes, man. Nice little rinse right there. Let's see if we can get something. I just bid 09s. I'm going to punch a little bit out there at 12s. I don't know why. Let's see if we get those 09s here. Nice flush, pretty dramatically. Oh, we did get 09s. Boom. Okay, now we only have about 15% left, but there it goes. Yes, Neil, finally, boom. Nice move back in for these TQs, really capturing this as maybe we go back to 25,000. I don't know, but the shorts probably, I mean, SMCI is probably doing great. Silver, is that reacting to this? Or?
A little bit. It just pulled back into VWAP, so it's still going to be holding trend for now. Little dip off the prior bar. This is where we had our stop when we took the breakout, so reloading essentially at the same price, maintaining the stop order. Silver could easily fall apart. I have to, but I care a little bit more when the market's going. If gold breaks the low, I could elect to even punch out of this one, even if it hasn't hit my stop. So silver a little bit stronger than gold, but not by much. SMCI just blew through the bottom. I was looking for a late trend break on something as the market's losing the volume weighted average price. We're gonna go to Adara. It might be Tesla. Tesla's the only thing which is doing a trend break currently as the market's going, but even as I said it, look at that candle. Like it was breaking trend here, and this candle's already $2, so I don't think I chase that one. Hold SMCI for our target price, and the good news for the open army is OpenDoor doesn't seem to care about this dip in the market. So OpenDoor is holding trend to the upside. That'll be key. You know, if this isn't gonna fall, the market falls, then this might be your only long opportunity. Let's go to Adara.
Yeah, let's talk about the US dollar. Before we get into that, I have to talk about IHRT, which did get a little bit of a bump here. Adweek reporting that IHRT and TikTok are launching a podcast network. So again, iHeartMedia, TikTok reportedly launching a podcast network, IHRT pushing higher. Let's talk about this US dollar, which is still steadily in this uptrend for the last month and a half, almost 2 months now on the daily chart. Now, we did have some commentary from this morning from Fed's Muslim. No other Fed speakers set to be on the schedule today, but if they make any kind of interviews or media appearances, there's always the possibility that one could pop up. Fed's Muslim saying that he's currently sees inflation around 3% rather than the target of 2%, and that he says that he's really looking forward to getting some more economic data. Nothing super shocking was said here. We maybe got 5-10 minutes worth of comments from him. So in terms of what we actually saw circulated, it wasn't too much from Fed's Muslim. But be aware here, guys. U.S. President Donald Trump set to meet with the interim president of Syria very shortly at 11 a.m. ET. We know that anytime we get any talk from President Trump, it can always move the market and potentially the U.S. dollar. So stay tuned for that. You guys know I'll be covering that for you right here on this desk. So again, get ready for Trump. No more Fed talk today. And this U.S. dollar, despite a 3-day downtrend to end last week, looks like it might want to continue to push higher. Back to you.
Wow, what a move down here for these markets. I want to thank Stevenson there. The level of confidence you have on reading these charts, yeah, look, I mean, it comes with time, but we were wrong early, but the fact to hold it was a nice one there. I inspired you to be a better man? Okay, that's interesting. Thank you for being a great role model. Okay, this is a lot, but there we go. So you are forever indebted. Well, we're indebted to all of you guys as well, as we'll clear that. But thank you for the continued support on the show. I mean, that's what all of us want, from Joe to Neil to Sharif to Dara to all of us. Just continue watching, man. Bigger and better things are coming for the whole team here at Trader TV Live. I mean, you see all the stuff that's happening in the background right now as Russell continue. That desk is looking good over there, Russ. So we're getting ready to get that going. There it is. Like, look how professional this is. Dara's going to be sitting there soon, so that should be really exciting there as we go through. But yeah, man, this is the TQs, and there it goes. Just holding on to that short a little bit, and people will get stopped out where they get stopped out. But again, there's the move back in. Thought the Nasdaq was a little extended there, but we have cleared it out now to the point where I only have less than 10%. The big order for me was right here, 75s. That was a big chunk of that trade. So we are now out of that. But thank you so much, Stevenson. I mean, that is awesome. And yeah, it's just the TQs, right? So it's still different than trading the physical Nasdaq, as this is an ETF. But I like it. I trade it, and I've only traded these two names, and it's just too many outs. But I'm okay with getting out here at the 50 period. But holding for this drop down is what made the money. So that was a good one there. And now we'll wait to see. I mean, I think the market could fade even a little bit more. We did zoom out and say, I don't think a 110 flat, but we've already been there today. Like, we sort of had talked about 110.15 as the day's low. If we crack that, who knows where we can go from here. So let's just hold on and see if we can get back to Greensville here. Well, the market's already nicely, but back in a little bit as the Nasdaq continues to fall. So yeah, so far so good there. Thank you for the continued support, everybody.
TPS reports just said, can I short CNBC and Bloomberg?
Yes.
Well, you can pretty much short anything.
Probably not a bad short.
No, I mean, linear TV, not a lot.
You're just saying that because we're
not a lot. I know, but not exactly a good play, I think, anyways. But Ashar R looks to you R. Okay, so this will be one. I don't know anything about this, and so when we appreciate the super chat, but if we ever call something up that has less than 1 million shares in volume at this time of the day, it's not going to be a day trade. It's some kind of a realty trust. So many times we get questions about stocks that are like this, where they're trending down, and if it's a realty trust, I'm going to assume there's some kind of a quality dividend or something, which is probably the reason people are in it. But I just don't like. I don't like these. Like, you had a huge volume bottom, which is only interesting if it then holds the low afterward, because then you could have a wipeout bottom and higher lows, and there's a trade for like a dead cat bounce, but that's not happening. Like, this is actually still trend down after the wipeout bottom. So yeah, give it a minute, man. Like that, let it settle down. Don't try to catch a falling knife. There's a big difference between buying the dip in a quality name in an uptrend and trying to pick the bottom in something which is bleeding. Maybe you get a capitulation bottom and then a higher low to work off of. That doesn't happen. That hasn't happened in that read. So we're pretty much to target on SMCI, maybe another push down, but I don't let this one get back above the prior high. Like, I've moved the trail. I'll still short VWAP again if we get it, but I have moved the trail to make sure that we don't get absolutely caught here. The only thing bouncing, well, mean, OpenDoor is almost at the high of the day, but that doesn't count for the market. The only thing bouncing that cares about the market is Tesla. Tesla's right back into some of the highs. So this is looking pretty strong relatively still. Tesla. Palantir, which was the strongest name earlier, looks like it might get to VWAP. I jumped out when it got to that prior support level. Kind of looking for it to bounce off this area here. Clearly that doesn't happen, but it's going to trend break and maybe get into the volume weighted average price itself. So silver is still holding up, which is good, but I got to watch gold. If gold breaks low, I might just punch out of this. Even if it's a flat punch, I don't want that to revert too far. So look, it's only about a couple of minutes to go. I am curious.
Oh, shit.
I was going to say, not Kathy Wood. She doesn't know what for lunch.
You want to know what's for lunch?
Kathy Wood. I'm like,
Kathy, man, I'm going to get to it. Like, I'm glad you did, but like, why is she even phoning here about that?
I'm like, we thinking the same thing?
We got a lot of things going on right here. Okay, so what is for lunch on this? The November the 10th here. Great day to trade. I mean, we've had winners for the longs, winners on the short side of things as well. Let's see if we're winning today for lunch.
Tacos.
Yeah, I'm taking a look over.
It's not tacos.
Yeah, it's relatively, I don't think it's going to be super exciting for many around here. We've had this many times before. And of course, if you were long early and short late, then you do have a couple chicken dinner winners.
No, chicken.
It's this, it's like a hair coming, I don't know. Italian grilled chicken.
That was fine.
Oh, yeah, it's okay.
No, that was good last.
The thing about the chicken around here is it's just a matter of sometimes it's a little over, you know, and it could be, you know, a little dry. So we'll see if that happens. Italian grilled chicken.
It does happen from time to time.
With some cold pasta salad. So I think Joe likes that one. Joe was upset last week because he noticed that I think there was some pasta salad that, oh my God, the market is right now cracking a lot lower. Roasted zucchini, booyaka. We love some zucchini around here with cauliflower and mixed green salad. That is what's for lunch. Kathy's screwed me up over here. All right, so here's the market down, man. We have a couple hundred handles now. As this move is happening right now, we have the high of the day in the TQQs and now the low of the day basically in these TQs. So high to low, good trade there. Hallelujah on that one. We were sweating a little bit as that market did come back in for us finally. It took a minute though, right? It didn't start falling down until about 10:30. And again, it gave us a top. So we just sat there, watched it, and it came through. So that was all about it, man. Yeah, Italian grilled chicken. It means that Italian grilled it. Yes, that is right. But probably some seasoning.
I don't even know what it.
I don't know.
Well,
it's just the Italian seasoning, right? Probably some basil there.
But even that, I'm not sure what that means.
I don't. You can buy Italian seasoning.
Yeah, I know, but still, just because you put Italian seasoning on it doesn't make it Italian. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. But it's going to be delicious.
Oh, man,
that's all that matters.
The futures are low right here, guys. I'm bidding 110.11 right now. So here it comes. Yes. Bang. That is your hot dog cannon trade of the day for me, man. There goes the futures. Big trade now, $2 in. But you want to update SMCI?
No, SMCI closed the entirety of the gap. VWAP into the gap from Friday. So there's the move. It's about $1, couple of points. It's still green on the day, believe it or not. That's not going to last. And before we go over to the midday, this one maybe was better. Intel was probably an even better short because that gave you a very clean. It was also $1, but it's a little bit cheaper of a stock and certainly pretty liquid as well. But overall, the market looks like it is going to hold underneath, well, whatever. It's the overnight lows that are being tested right now. We'll speculate on that throughout the midday. Should have a lot of fun. I know Sharif should be excited for these Hulk fans that are showing up on some of those small cappers.
Great trade.